Hey guys, happy Monday. What's going on, y'all? Hi everybody. What's going on? Bougie gang, it's lunchtime. Can we ask why was Kanye's wife out on the red carpet naked? She's out everywhere naked. I mean, you can ask me, but damn it, Kanye wife out everywhere naked. I mean, is that anything new? Ugh. Ugh. Kanye is always what is Kanye's Instagram? I don't even remember what it is. Does he even have Instagram anymore? He is always out with Bianca Sensori naked, period. So it's like nothing new. Can we get the likes to match the views in this lunch hour? I mean, if you guys knew what kind of hour I just had, girl, it include fuck out of here. And I probably shouldn't have said that because now I had to tell somebody off. I didn't even tell them off. Progressively got more pissed and had to cuss them out. Then I had to call my husband and tell my husband this is what just happened. Now he's pissed. But I was pissed because he was pissed yesterday. And then they pissed me off today. And uh anyway, I swore I wasn't even gonna say anything to you guys because I was like, should I tell Bougie Gang what happened? Girl, if it includes fuck out of here. I was like, and I was being nice with that because I was getting ready to go from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. I was so pissed. Okay. Yes. Kanye should be ashamed of himself. Do tell. I don't want to say too much because there's always people in the bushes who like to use information for their situation. I'm just gonna say, um, I had to have a strong conversation with someone who doesn't know me and I don't know them. Okay, I had to have a very strong conversation on some. You don't know me and I don't know you, and this is the first time hearing about it because let me tell you something. If I don't know we got a problem, that's your fucking problem. Hello? You know what I'm saying? Like if we got a problem and only you know about it, baby, that's all you. Because we're happy over here. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have no problems. Now, it includes I feel like someone is picking on Portia and Lambo and you don't pick on anybody up in this house. We got an inkling of it yesterday. We got an inkling of it yesterday. My husband came and told me something had happened, something just odd. And I was kind of pissed, but I'm very kind of like, um, okay. You know what I mean? I just put it in the back of my head. Anyway, so there was an occurrence and like I said, it included get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just I don't know you and you don't know me. Um that type thing. Okay. Are they off limits? They're as off limits as Farrah is, okay? So that's that and that's all. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it because but then I had to call my husband and tell him what happened. So you know what I'm saying? My dogs are they don't poop and piss on other people's yards, all that stuff. You know, we pretty much I have the dogs if they're going out for a walk, they're usually pooping and peeing before they even leave out the house. You know what I'm saying? You know how you handle your business before you leave the house, right? Therefore, you can just have a nice leisurely walk and you're not having to pick up a whole bunch of stuff with the poop bags and everything. Yes, and they're sweet and very friendly. Um Somebody very strange looking, like, if you guys remember the original version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the weird guy who turned out to actually work for what's his name? Willy Wonka. He worked for the Wonka factory. The weird guy with the circle damn glasses. It's giving his grandson or something. It's giving some weirdo. Don't play with me. Anyway, let me stop. Okay, guys. It's lunchtime. What did you guys want to talk about? I know we reran the Jarvis Butts closing, and I kind of am not in the headspace to even talk about that right now. The main question you guys keep asking me is, did Sonya Squigward, thank you. Squigward and Slugworth sound awfully like that's potentially it. But the guy who was spying around to make sure that Charlie was worthy to be the next Willy Wonka. Uh Let me see. Willy Wonka's spy. Slugworth. Yes. Hold on a second, guys. Y'all. Hold on a second. Let me show you guys. Arthur. Who knew his name was Arthur? There was somebody all up trying to be in my face looking like this. And I was like, can I help you? Y'all, people are crazy. I don't, you know what I mean? I just, whatever. Anyway. You miss us. Thank you, Alan Speed. We miss you too. Okay. We had a couple new people come through for membership. Thank you so much for supporting these endeavors. Okay. Was that correct? I thought I saw a couple people come through on some new members. And then somebody dropped me a tip. Hold on. Let me find what. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought I did. I thought I saw that earlier before I plugged into the live. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. Was that from Oh, I did. Okay. I don't know why it's not showing in StreamYard, but H Cook, thank you. I can't highlight it for some reason. I see Justin's mom just came through. I see Cynthia. I'm seeing it on my hold on. Let me show you guys. I'm seeing it over here on my YouTube monitor side. Let me share the screen instead. I see you guys over here, but I can't highlight that. Does that make sense? H Cook, thank you. Green Bites, thank you. Cynthia, thank you guys for supporting. Um I just feel like I'm in a little bit of, I give me a minute to shake it off. Normally I can get over stuff pretty quick because my reset button is happy go lucky. If I had to make myself like a nickname, it would be like happy go lucky because I'm pretty much like a happy go lucky person. Um Girl, ma'am, that's basically what happened, but I was like, I'm not, get the fuck out of here, basically. Um no, and I'm not even I guess I'm just a little bit of a Jersey hothead because you know what I mean? I'm not even going to pretend to like I grew up in the hood because I really didn't. My dad was a doctor, so I did not grow up in the hood, but don't I got a good I have a good amount of don't fuck with me from Bergen County, New Jersey. And I got a lot of Jersey attitude. I guess you can just put it that way. But no. What'd you miss? Not much. I mean, we were just talking. I didn't even bother to put a title because they're like some crazy people are trying, you know what I mean? People are description box um monitoring me, and I guess I'm just going to talk about whatever I want to talk about today. How about that? Let me drop the link. I don't know what happened. You guys used to love to call in. Maybe you guys are busy at your desks. I welcome all callers. I try to let you guys say your piece. So callers typically can get almost as much time as they want. Um I think that's to the chagrin of some of Bougie Gang, because some of Bougie Gang wants people to keep it short. And I'm cool with that too if other people are calling in. But if someone has something to say and it's giving, and nobody else is calling, that I'm not necessarily gonna just cut somebody off. But I would love to hear from you guys. I haven't heard from you guys in a long time. We used to do call-ins once a week. I kind of relaxed it a little bit because um there was a situation that I found, like, I'm a G. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. I kind of relaxed it because I felt like it was creating conversation. It was weird. It was weird. Um, let's see. Hey, boo.
Hey,
How are
real quick, real quick. I just so I'm clear with my statement. I'm not I'm not hood either. I grew up hood adjacent. Let's put it that way. I'm from
ah,
I'm from the suburbs, but girl,
okay.
you remind me of
Shouts
me.
out to the suburbs.
Thank you, but honey, I can go there though. I can get with it. Uh,
I can get with right. Don't let the smooth
don't
taste
let the
fool
girl,
you.
girl,
Okay.
don't let
Don't
it
let the
fool you.
smooth taste fool you. All right.
Don't let it. It has fooled many people. It has
You're
fooled
right.
many
Zip
people.
codes. Don't get fooled by no zip codes. Okay.
Don't
Because
get
I
it twisted.
will
Do
get
not get
you
it
still get
twisted.
cussed out. Period. Okay.
With the
Absolutely.
exclamation point,
All
honey.
right.
Yeah, and that's how I am. That's why you had me laughing because I don't know if it's just a region thing. I don't understand what it is. But my daughters laugh at me because they like, Mom, you don't even present yourself like that. But I'm like, okay, well,
Mom.
I'm sorry because go left, I'm left with you, honey. I'm left with you. I can't help it. Think I
You know,
outgrew it, but then, girl,
go left and I'm
it,
right in your face. How about that?
I'm right with you. I'm right left with you.
Ah,
I'm right left
don't make
with
me
you.
get right. Okay. So
Especially when
how
it
was
comes
your
to my
weekend?
kids or my pets.
Oh my
It was
God.
great. It was great. It was great, and that's why I don't. When people say, "Why you like that over animals?" I don't get that way because I understand, honey. I
I'm
understand.
like
Go
that
there.
over mine. If it's mine, it's
Mm-hmm.
mine. I'm like that over and mine.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Um
Yes,
yeah,
mine's.
right. All of it. We had a
Same thing.
neighbor that a situation at our old house, just randomly, just out the blue, the bitch flipped on us. Like, we used to watch, she was military. We used to keep her cat. My husband even had to go looking for her cat one time. Normally we kept her cat. All of a sudden she has someone else come watch the cat. Maybe she like secretly was pissed at us for whatever reason. And the guy just let her cat out. She's like over in Germany. She was doing like she was gone for like a month deployment or something for something. And the guy called her and said, "Oh, your cat got out," and just left it at that. She called us crying. I said, "Don't worry, we got you. We'll see what we can do." So my husband goes over there, cracks the door, cracks the screen open. Um, we had the keys, cracks the door open, and then maybe like that night or the morning, he found the cat. Basically, the cat came home. Um, one day, and we lived there for almost 14 years. This is probably like year 12 or something. All of a sudden, the bitch flips on us out of the blue, like
See,
on some. I called the cops because I was like, bitch, literally my next door, like she just flipped on us. And I do think she had some severe PTSD because she had been
Oh, okay.
on many,
Okay.
many deployments. She was in Uzbekistan. She went to many different places. And I think she had a little bit of PTSD. But we were not adversarial with her at all. We actually really helped her a lot on many, many, many of her deployments. And we were cool with her. All of a sudden, she's like got an issue with my husband, and that's not gonna work. You got a problem with my husband, you got a problem
Yeah,
with me.
that's right.
And we were done. I mean, once we really figured out she had a problem with us, and she was trying, you know what I mean? Like it 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 was the catalyst for us to like start looking, and we got up out of there after 14 years. We loved that house, but it was time anyway. Farrah was getting older, and that was a house I purchased when I was single, and I didn't even have a dog when I was just, it was just me when I first purchased that home. So we went from one person to three people and a dog, and it just, we grew out of it. So it was perfect timing anyway, but I just
But you
it
know, if somebody tells me, I mean, and you're reasonable, you're level headed, and I like to pretend like I am too sometimes. But but so if somebody tells me that there's a reason why they're going off and stuff like that, and then I give them grace. I do. I give them grace. But if there's a reason, but if there's not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can. Yeah, yeah, I'm right with you. We together. I'm right with you. I'm right. I'm right over on that left side with you, and we can go there. So yeah,
right.
I wanted to call up and just tell you that because I am actually working. I wanted to tell you that because I started laughing. I said that's their regional. That's that. I guess it's anywhere you go, but it's the East Coast. It's kind of my husband, Lord rest his soul. But my husband was from New York. He was from Brooklyn, and so and I'm from DC. I'm a DC native, but live in
Mhm.
Maryland. But and we understood each other. We got that part. We got that part because at a drop of a dime, he's there too. It's that edge. I guess it's that kind of edge that you get being from, either
I
the
just
city
feel
or
like I'm
region.
very cool until I'm not.
Until I'm not.
I
Yeah.
until I'm not.
Yeah.
Like it's just one thing can really kind of just set me off, and then I'm upset because I'm mad. That makes me
Yeah.
even more, but when I'm kind of step outside of myself, it pisses
Yeah.
me off so bad
Me too.
because I don't like, you know what I mean? I don't like to
Yeah.
be I don't like to have a unsettledness about things, and I'm very, I consider myself like a really good neighbor. Um and if there's an issue, anyway. Um but yeah, thank you so much,
But
Glorious. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
I'm right here with you. So yeah, I'm right
Okay.
here with you. Anyway, thank you, and thank you for all you do. Talk
Oh,
to you
you're so
later.
sweet. All right, you take care. Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Is having a birthday tomorrow. Look at Tan. Okay, Tan. Okay. It's Tan's birthday tomorrow. Let's not forget our good sis Tan the trophy. Tan, did you get that coat from Anthropology? Because if that's an Anthropology jacket, I have the exact same one. Janae from Hilo Lux, Janae Naylor, went over to Anthropology, baby, and she got her this red faux fur jacket, and I absolutely loved it. She in a vlog, a shopping vlog, and before the vlog was over, I'd ordered it. I had to. It was so, I love it too. I wore it to were we in Walmart? I don't know. I think I just it let me see. Morph jersey. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, don't play about my husband, and he doesn't play about me either. That goes for the neighbors and the family and friends. Yeah, I just, I really don't bother people. Tan came in and burned out. Maybe Tan went back to a meeting. Anyway, guys, let me tell you guys the number one thing. So happy birthday to our good sis Tan. It's her birthday tomorrow. So when you see Tan, let her know happy birthday. to our beautiful good sis Tan the Trophy. Are there any other birthdays? Any other Aquarians in the mist? Happy birthday in case I miss you tomorrow. Happy early birthday. You're an honorary member. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, of Aquarian crew or what? Did you watch the fight? What fight? What fight? Who had a fight? I don't even know if Joey is in the bushes. Joey Sea Dog, if you're in the bushes, can you please call in? We'd love to hear from you today if you are available, sir. Joey, let me drop the thing again and I'll pin it this time. Y'all, we could let's just we it's open. So whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about. Um on topic as it relates to this channel. Let's put it, let me set some parameters here. Um all right, let me pin this. All right, let me just what I wanted to say was one of the number one things you guys have been asking me about lately has been, did Sonia turn in her paperwork to the DA? I have no idea. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea. I would have no way of finding it out. I did go to the docket. I went to the docket to see if there was anything posted there, and there was not. And Sanders, just one second, hun. Oh, Joey's calling it. Okay, Joey, sit tight for just a second, okay? You guys put the bat signal out and the bat signal has been answered. Okay, Sanders, you guys have been asking, did I know if Sonia turned in her paperwork or not? I do not know. We know that her friend, the infamous Blabbermouth, gave us some sort of story. I don't know if it's valid or not. So we're just going to leave that at that. We won't know anything till we know something. But as soon as I find something out, of course, I'm going to let y'all know. Sanders, you're on, hun.
Hey, good morning. Well, no,
Hi.
good afternoon. I just noticed
Good
it's
afternoon.
it,
It's morning somewhere. It's
yes, it is. It's
on the
not.
East Coast. It's 1 o'clock.
Well, I just wanted to come up and give you some love. I am so
Thank you.
appreciative of you. I've always told you that how much
Aw, thank
uh
you.
like your little sis. You've really been a model for me, like afar. 'Cause I've always said I wanted a mentor, but I feel like God has always given me mentors that I can't necessarily touch. Uh,
Hmm.
but they've said little things to me in passing, whether you were talking to me or not, that really just impacted me greatly.
Oh, so some things just kind of resonate, or just right timing.
Exactly.
Certain things come around the right time. Okay, got it.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I
even we talk
appreciate
about
that.
clothes and shoes and purses. I'm a Capricorn, so to me, things have to be sensible. And spending a certain amount of money for clothes and shoes, it just never made sense to me. And it was never necessarily like a money issue, which is like that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But being able to go into a store and say, I'm gonna get my first Louis, or I'm gonna spend, the amount on like an expensive Coach purse. Being able to do that and be like, oh, well, bougie, she
Hmm.
was kind of reminding me that it's okay to just splurge on yourself just to kind of show self love. I've always thought self love for me has never been like equated to money or
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not equating the two, but just being able to do it, just do it. So that has been something that I've gotten out of my bag in a sense. And
Hmm.
just being able to do that, I just wanted to come up and give you love. The door was open. Um, and the last thing I'll leave you with, I'm really trying to get into the Naziah Harris case.
Hmm.
It's it hits very close to home to me.
Hmm.
So I'm watching it for justice that I know my family never received.
Yeah.
So on that end, I'm trying. I'm in and out, but I'm just appreciative that you're showing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it's really interesting. I mean, for it captivates on many different levels. So I'm glad get in where you can fit in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Every episode isn't going to be for everybody, or you know what I mean? Like, we all absorb things differently. So I appreciate you being a spectator a little bit. And if it's not, some of the drama stuff may not be for everybody. So I try to table most of it. But there's just some that really bleeds into the story that kind of has to be told just while we're kind of waiting for the trial period to start. So, but yeah, no, I get it. I think a lot of people are interested in it for a reason, because on many different levels there were some failures and hiccups and missteps and all of those things. Also, the family drama is quite interesting because that crosses everything, socioeconomic, everything. People have family drama, and
Yeah.
people, even though you're the same family, we have different households and we all have different ways of doing things. And so I think it resonates with a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So
And the fur baby situation, I can't.
mhm.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna touch that because you come from mine
Okay.
that's on the screen, you gonna get another side of me.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know.
Lammy and Portia are fine. They're resting right now, but and maybe I'll talk about it in the future. I'm just too pissed off to talk about it right now. And then also, I'm going to be honest, you never know who's watching your channel, and I don't know what these people know. You know what I mean? So I'm not giving anybody the pleasure.
Yes, I'm
So
concerned about a neighbor in a sense not having a good relationship with them because I don't want them
mhm.
to try and put something in my yard that my fur baby may sniff, touch, whatever, and
Mm,
I that's no, no. So I completely understand that, and just praying that whatever happened, that there's peace after this. Mm,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
So thank you for allowing me to come up.
Oh, thank you for coming.
And for allowing my time and space. I appreciate you all.
Oh, well, thank you. You take care.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, take care. Have a good afternoon. All right, bye-bye. Joey. Hi,
Francoise,
Joe.
how are you?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, sir?
You tell me. You
Oh
tell
my
me, ma'am.
God. Gosh, it's been a minute since we've talked to you. So,
It has.
gosh, when last we talked, I'm trying to think of what was on. Had the motion to suppress the vehicle evidence. I think maybe was that it when Roberto filed the motion to suppress, because it
I think
it
so.
definitely wasn't okay. So, and we talked about that.
Yes.
And I feel like I said something about I'm not trying to get into the neighborhood of I told you so, but I did say something to the effect of, and Shirley's it's the car's not even registered in his name.
No, it's not. But we knew that.
We
We knew
knew
the car
that.
was. We knew the car was. The issue for me is legally. The problem is there's a. It's kind of a cart before the horse. When you
Right.
when you went into the car, you did not know any of this information. You didn't know he wasn't married. You didn't know any of this. So
Right.
Prosecutor Wooten's his answer comes across as if he knew all these things, but you didn't. You didn't know. In fact, I don't think they knew anything about the marriage until the bloggers kind of told them that.
Well,
So
like if you look at it to expand on what you're saying, nobody knew because
no,
according to Nesto, he says he did not even know.
well, I don't believe that, but
Well,
uh,
that's what I'm just saying what Nesto said.
right. Well, I
What
mean, he's
Nesto
going to
said
say that.
was okay.
He's
So
going
go
to say that,
ahead.
but the prosecutors did not. They did not have knowledge of this. So I think, and I believe that search of the vehicle was not proper. However, because you found this treasure trove of material,
Documents.
once you
Yeah.
once you see it, it's hard to not see it. So you
Mhm.
have to say again, they're going to figure out a way to try to keep a lot of that in play. Some of it may get
Mhm.
thrown out, but I think that it's going to get kept. And that's kind of unfortunate because you can't, because that search was illegal because the search was for drugs. It was a drug dog search.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this. So, okay. So if I'm understanding correctly, because Natalie, like they didn't know all of what we know now, like all of what
correct.
Will Wooten broke down in the state's response, which all makes sense. And I think those are all valid reasons as to why Nesto cannot enjoy the privileges of his quote unquote privacy because of everything that was mentioned in that document. That's correct, right? He can't
That is
enjoy those
correct.
privileges. However, so that's a major technicality that gets them around the fact of the improper search.
It can,
It could,
but
right?
it
Okay,
could. But
potentially.
my
Mhm.
question is for knowledge. You didn't know this at the time. So again,
Right. So it's
if you'd have
convenient
known
that
that,
this all unfolded.
correct.
Hmm.
If I do an illegal search and I find something that I shouldn't, that's bad, you can't come back after the fact and say, well, if I do an illegal search for drugs and I find a gun, uh, let's make a good example. And I find something that I'm not supposed to find.
You find a dead body in the trunk.
Well, dead bodies is a little different, but I do a search for drugs, and let's say I find, in his case, you found the computer.
Hmm.
Well, if you're looking for drugs, why are you looking at a computer? Why are you opening the computer? Why are you looking at his? What does the computer have to do with drugs? Nothing.
Well, if it's a sophisticated operation, there could be information about the drugs in the computer. But if you're doing a physical search for actual drugs and not just like a drug enterprise that would be documented in the computer, you know what I mean?
Right. But there was no probable cause because he wasn't arrested for a drug activity. I mean, there's
Right.
no nexus to tie that to. We'll see what the judge comes out with and how he kind of threads the needle. But that's my biggest issue with the case. The problem is though, you did find that information. You did see what you saw,
Mhm.
and you can't unsee it. You can't say, "Oh, I saw this," and well, we kind of pretend we didn't see it again. So
Do you
I think
blame
they're going to figure a way.
Nesto or Sonia for pushing this? Look, I don't. So to your point, I can't fault them for trying to go down the road of this was not legal, right? But because they are going down the road of this wasn't a legal search, it forced the state to really kind of probe into some things that now could potentially throw your argument all the way out.
Correct. Or the state has found other things that can replace those other things.
Right. So it's
So
almost just
he,
like due to your, your friend Sonia pushing you to push this, now it's even worse.
well, I don't think it was Sonia's idea. It was always Mr. Williams' idea from day one that the search was illegal.
The search was
Uh,
illegal. Okay.
it was always his idea. It was always his position that the search was illegal. And because they had no reason to take the car, they could have left the car there. Shirley could have come and got it. That's his position. So, or he could have called somebody to come and get the vehicle.
So is
We will
that going to be
see.
something that could be more like upon appeal? Let's just say it got to that point. Is that going to be more of like like they say that's a matter of law versus this
Right,
particular case? Like
right.
this is something that you'll have to settle outside of this court because we're not going to debate the law, per se. We're talking about these charges, and if we can let it in, technically we can, so you can dispute that in your appeal if you need to.
Correct. Correct. It's a matter of law. And
You
even
see how
if
much I have learned over the last year?
apparently so, and
Okay.
even if you throw it out, the listening public or the public at large still knows about this material. So
Right.
they
We
still
can't
know
unhear it.
and hear it. So
Mhm.
even if you were to say, okay, you're throwing it out, doesn't mean we don't know about it. And there could be ways to tie it into something else. So, I mean, we will see. But the issue is you want to protect, you don't want to have a criminal justice system that puts you in jail and then goes through your life, finds everything that you've ever done wrong, and then creates charges for that.
Yeah, I mean I don't feel like that's what happened, but
I do. I
because
feel that there's a lot of that has happened. A lot of
yeah,
that has happened. Now, it doesn't mean that whether he's innocent or guilty is for a jury to decide or a judge,
right.
but it appears to be, he's been in jail almost 3 years. And in
Right.
3
Now
years,
it is getting to be a long time that he's been,
right.
it's like, okay, he's definitely been sitting stewing for a long time.
And they've been digging the entire time. So in 3 years, with you on ice, I can pretty much find something salacious on anyone.
Something that you did wrong that we can correlate
Correct.
to what we did wrong, whether intentionally or unintentionally, to work in our favor.
Correct.
Because that's basically
And
what they did. They found something. There was a technicality that came up, which is more than just a technicality. It's but it's definitely something that would make the vehicle more not his, because it wasn't his, but it's definitely not yours, or the privileges if you're not even married to the owner. And also the owner is stipulating, which people in the comments have said they don't believe that Shirley didn't know that the vehicle wasn't hers. But what he said specifically was that Shirley did not know that when it was purchased, that it had been purchased with her information. When she found out, we don't know. But it was, the way I read it was that when it was purchased, she was not aware. When she became aware that he'd put the car in her name, I can't tell you.
Well, from the phone calls, it appears that she is aware that that vehicle is in her name.
No,
She's
what I
very much
said was when it was purchased, like when
But
he
that's
went to the car. Go ahead.
But that would be between the two of them, and she would have to make that an issue, which
Right,
I
but
don't
see, Will
think she
said
has.
something like she would be willing to testify, because he wasn't putting it out there as a fraud charge, but I guess it could be if she wanted to push it. But I think that he said in the document that she would be willing to testify that she was unaware that at the time of purchase that the transaction was done in her name.
Okay, so my next line of questioning is, so what did you do about that? Did you find that unusual? Did you have a problem with that? Has he done that before? Is that how you operate in your marriage?
Maybe
Does he
that's
traditionally
going to be come up in the trial. That might come
does he
up.
habitually go out, rent houses, lease property, get vehicles in your name without you knowing about it, and then telling you later after the fact?
Well, I think that's going to come up because Vista Ray Property, the managers of the Bent Creek address, that probably will come up because that lease was in Shirley's name, and maybe she's going to have to talk about Erica King representing her. Like, did you know that there was a whole that you had a case and Erica King was representing you for the dispossessory and showed up to court on a couple of occasions impersonating a lawyer named April Holloway?
Right. So
I
Shirley is
think
going to,
that's going to come up.
yeah. So Shirley is going to have to, again, I can't wait for the trial because a lot of these questions are going to be answered the folks have to get on the stand and tell us what their actions were and why things were the way they were. And then it'll all make sense. But
Well,
this,
August lady is saying that's a way the DA can prove that he has a history of doing deceptive acts, even to his own wife. So that would be another example, because depending Vista Ray property, which is Bent Creek, Pine Grove Road, which he says it wasn't him, but he says a lot of stuff isn't him. Shirley is alleging that she didn't even know that he purchased the car in her name. She didn't say she never knew the car was in her name, but when it was purchased, she did not know. That's the way I understood when I read it. Not meaning she never knew, but when it was purchased, she was unaware that he was putting it in her name.
okay. Again, a good defense attorney will say, okay, once you discovered this, what did you do after that?
She might have said I did nothing because he's always using my name, and I was annoyed, but I didn't do anything because he's my husband, and I would have preferred him not to do that, but I didn't do anything.
So in your marriage, that's kind of how you do things. It's not uncommon for him to do that.
It wasn't uncommon for him to do it, but doesn't mean, and she might say she was look, we can throw out abused. She may have gone mute. She didn't want people to know. She was embarrassed that her husband was financially abusing her.
It can be a litany of things, but you have to answer the mail. She has to answer the mail on this. And if he was able to buy these cars in your name and you didn't know anything about it, but yet you were driving the cars for months on end, and in this particular case, when he was arrested, you certainly knew the truck was yours. You had conversations about that truck being yours, so you did know, and you seem to not have a real issue with it, other than the fact that you just couldn't drive it because it's so big. So
I don't think. I guess what I'm saying is, let's just say you buy a car on Friday night and you buy it in your wife's name, and then on Monday, oh yeah, by the way, it's in your name. 3 years from now, if there's a problem and she's like, and you never told me when you purchased that car that it was going to be in my name, and I've been dealing with this for the past 3 years, type thing. Even though you told her 3 days after you purchased it, but 3 years later, she's still pissed about it, or just, hey, remember, yeah, I don't know anything about that because I wasn't there when it was purchased. My husband did it and put it in my name. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like something like that. I don't think that Shirley's pretending to not know that he put it in her name. What I understood is that when he purchased it, he put it in her name. The time frame of when he told her, I'm not, we don't know. But I think she was just saying I didn't know. I didn't know until I knew. Whenever she knew, whenever that time frame happened that she got informed, she was not informed at the signing of the contract.
And that is possible. In my mind, a good answer would be, we have a policy or a habit in our household of him purchasing things for me in my name, and I use these things because they're bought for me. He goes out and buys them, and he uses my money and
my credit,
my credit to do it, and and that's how we've been operating. I don't ask any questions because he's the man of the house and he takes care of these things. He provides the cars, he provides the clothes, he provides the homes. I provide the money. And that, to me, has a ring of being honest, and it's not how everybody operates, but I can understand it. To say that you are completely blind, you had no idea, this guy has been pulling rabbits out of his hats and making things disappear, and I have no idea what he is doing. He's gone for days on end. And I just don't know what he does next. Just seems to be just won't work for me. It just won't work. I won't believe any of that.
So the RICO, to Kevin Durant's hairbrush point, the RICO has nothing to do with the car. Do you think this is a stall tactic?
No, I think this is just additional charges. I think they're just trying to add everything, because this is.
But they weren't trying to add additional charges. Sean has been pushing this issue. Sean pushed the issue.
For the car?
Sean Hoover pushed this issue. They were supposed to be in trial probably right about now.
I think the issue was put
this issue, and then now we're not, the next date on the docket is in June.
I think the issue was pushed because of the counter by defense to throw the evidence out.
Right.
So that's what drove that.
Well, I don't know that it was a counter by the defense. The defense bought the motion to throw out the vehicle evidence to begin with. And then Will Wooten responded that the RICO has nothing to do with this vehicle, and we're not even using anything obtained. But their argument was, I guess you wouldn't have the RICO. I guess they're saying you wouldn't have the RICO without the car, because of all the Erica King things and all of the, all of the evidence. He feels like there wouldn't be a case, and I guess they're saying, well, we can prove that some of these things we were already investigating prior to the vehicle search or even without the vehicle search. So I guess
that is
relevant. It is and it isn't, kind of, right?
That is true. I think that is a very good point. I think Wooten is trying to say that without the car, we still have enough to go forward. But since we do have the car, this is what we found. Just to reiterate, this is what we found in that car. So are you sure you want to throw that away?
I think Janetta wants to ask you a question. I think Janetta wants to come in. Janetta, did you want to ask Joey a question? Because I saw you backstage.
I wanted to ask Joey if he thought maybe Erica helps Nesto to get the car in Shirley's name, and maybe she went and pretended to be Shirley. I was kind of thinking that. I was wondering if he was thinking along the same lines.
With Erica, anything's possible.
I mean, you did meet her. You saw how
Erica is the mastermind, Dr. Evil.
Erica is Kaiser Sose. She's the Kaiser.
She is
Kaiser Sose of Atlanta.
She is it. Mr. Williams is not the brightest. It's not the sharpest crayon in the box. I can assure you of that. Erica is much smarter, much more cunning, much more organized than he is. He likes to think that he is this, but it's really Erica, which is why Erica got the deal, because Erica is basically teaching the DA how these kind of affinity scams work, what to look for. Yeah, because I think Erica has a much more broader palette of things going on than just with Nesto, with Earnest. So that's that would be my guess.
Yeah, I'll be glad when more information comes out about that, because I was very curious. Like, if Shirley didn't know it was in her name, someone had to help him. Because I agree with you, I don't think he's that bright, and he knows how to surround himself with very intelligent women. So he does have a skill for that. But that's about it.
I think even at a dealership, if someone says, "Okay, I'm buying a car for my wife," okay, great. Look, we can get the ball roll. She's out of town right now. Let's get the ball rolling. So he gives them her information. Maybe they have to get someone on the phone. It's possible he used a female. He could have used Dominique. He could have used Erica. Shirley says the transaction she was unaware of. Was she mad when he came home with it? Who knows? But it's possible he used someone, but we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Well, we can speculate.
He deals with certain dealerships and he deals with certain people. He does certain things. So a lot of times this is done just with paperwork. So, and again, he shows up with a G-Wagon or a nice car, says, "Hey, Shirley, here's your new car. I need you to sign right here." She signs it and she drives off in the G-Wagon. But what she actually signed was for the 250 truck. I mean, it's not hard to do.
Right.
If you're not paying attention, if you're not, if all you see is the bright shining object, it's very easy to pull the wool over your eyes every time.
Yeah, I'm trading this. I'm getting that. I
Yeah,
need you to sign these,
yeah.
blase. Um, okay. I mean, it makes sense. Um, Janetta, did you have anything else, hon?
No, that was pretty much it. So I was just I agree with you more so than Joy, regarding the discussion you were having as far as the Wooten's response. He's basically making a, it doesn't matter what they knew at the time. He's just making a argument that based off of fraud, that that is not valid. And he cited some court cases. The one that stood out to me was the hotel. Someone normal under normal circumstances, you'll have a right to privacy if you rent a hotel. But if you obtained it fraudulently, then that goes out the window. So they don't have to know that you were committing fraud at the time that you obtained the room. They can find out later, and they go in there, they violated your rights, but then they find out later that you've obtained it fraudulently, then you don't have standing to challenge the search. So he made a very good standing argument. So I thought, because I wasn't thinking about the standing argument as far as it went to the truck, because I was operating under the assumption, okay, they're married. So whether it was registered to Shirley or not, that wouldn't matter.
He still had
But
like
if
the
I
privilege of use
yeah,
because that's his
yes,
wife.
yes, because my husband had a car before we got married, and if I'm driving around with it, he's my husband, and it's my car as well. But the fact that it was obtained fraudulently, that wasn't even a valid marriage. He obtained the car, the truck through his fraudulent marriage. So that basically he's making a fraud argument and saying, due to that, you have no standing to even challenge this search. They may have made a mistake, or they violated his rights. All that doesn't matter. And the standing argument would apply to, which I didn't understand, but he's challenging the searches to Erica's house. He's and Erica's cell phone. And my position on that from the beginning, how would he have challenge standing to challenge a search on Erica's house? He has no right to privacy. Has no right to privacy in Erica's house. Just as like if the police go into your house and find some evidence they can use against me, I can't challenge it because
Well,
it's not
he's
my house. I don't
challenging
have a
it
right to
because
privacy.
he's challenging it because the breadcrumbs to get to Erica's house were in Nesto's car. But they're also saying
Yeah, I
that there
understand
was
that.
evidence prior to that due to the 2155 Bent Creek Manor situation. They were already headed to her house, but there was breadcrumbs in his vehicle that led them to her house too.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, if he don't have standing, none of that's gonna matter because he don't have. They can go in there and take you whatever, but it's not. He don't have a right to privacy. So when you're talking about search warrants, it's whether now you have a right to privacy in that particular, was it a vehicle or a home. It's about whether or not the person who's challenging has a right to privacy.
No,
So he wouldn't have a right to privacy in Erica's house. So whether they violated, they didn't have a proper warrant or not, he couldn't challenge. He doesn't have standing to challenge Erica's
but
house.
isn't it the fruit of the poisonous tree? It's
Like
basically
if it's
because you
oh,
did that, you wouldn't have this.
I
So
mean,
because
if
you
he had a right to privacy, then yeah, that'll apply. But
right,
yes, the
so all
fruit.
of it's thrown out because of the
But you
bigamous marriage.
If he had a
again,
right to privacy in those, what was searched, yes, that's if he had a right to privacy and they violated his rights, and his this fruit of the poisonous tree it led to other evidence, then yes, it could be thrown out. But he would have to have a right to privacy and what
uh,
he's challenging.
be very careful of what you're just thinking. Be very careful with that. What you don't want is a situation, in my mind, where someone can do things to you and then create the case after the fact.
I mean,
I am
that's not something I'm dreaming of. It's the law.
so
And Wooten cited the law, and he
well,
has law to back it up. So,
but
you know,
the defense can cite law as well. There's law, and then
yeah.
there's law, and then there's also facts. So law can be obscured and clarified in many ways. So don't just go off of what Will Wooten said. I have an issue with foreknowledge. You did not know that wasn't his. You did not know all these things. You did not know he did not have a right to privacy when you did that. So you have to be careful about taking away someone's civil liberties or liberty, and then kind of going in after the fact saying, aha, I've already done these things. And upon further digging, I realized that I legally could have done it. But what if that wasn't the
So
case?
So opportunistically, Will lucked out because he has
Correct.
legal standing because of the
He
way
has
Nesto was doing things, and
he
he
has an
created a
argument
situation for himself that has opened a door for him to not be able to use the privacy and the illegal search and seizure. He's kind of
he,
is Nesto like the most unluckiest criminal around? Is he just like a real unlucky guy? Because it just seems like he hasn't won an I haven't seen him win one thing.
I
because
mean, the
he
judge
is
has a, oh,
because he's not the criminal. He is just benefiting from the fruits of someone else's work. And because he doesn't do the work, he doesn't know how to get out of it. He doesn't know how to defend himself. He doesn't know what to not do. Again, the winner of this, the winner of the Fulton County jail sweepstakes is Erica King.
So he was benefiting from Erica's scams, but he still was like quote unquote, and I mean, Erica is a convicted felon at this, she's a convicted felon, so I can say that. And she's admitted to these crimes, but you're saying Nesto was benefiting from Erica's scams and he doesn't know how to get out of it because he really didn't understand how they worked.
He did not.
She was maneuvering for him. He was benefiting from it, and he has absolutely no defense. She's taken 17 felonies and one misdemeanor to be able to be at home and be out of jail, and he's going to he may end up doing time because she got out before he did. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying she cut a deal.
She
Again,
cut a
she's smart.
deal, so she was
She's
able to
smarter
get
than
out before him.
she's smart, and because she knows what's been done. He doesn't. He has no
So
idea.
so if they know she's the mastermind per se, right? Let's just say she is the mastermind or she is the mastermind. What
Mhm.
is it that they're finding in Nesto? Is it that they just find that he is a menace who has created situations that
I
they
think
feel like he is RICO worthy? Like if she really is the mastermind, why take him down?
because sometimes because he is the recruiter. He's the person that fed the machine. Without him, you wouldn't have all the victims. His job was to go and get victims.
Okay. Okay. She's doing the work and he's creating the opportunities.
Correct.
She's the worker bee of the scams and he finds the marks.
He
Okay.
does. He finds them.
He finds the
And
marks. He
right. And
okay.
he was visible. And he's the one that made sure everybody knew it was him. See, Erica was kind of in the shadows for the most part.
Well, so someone's saying Tan the trophy says she thinks that Nesto's smarter at the scams than we think he is. It's not to say, so you know how they may say everyone's kind of got their job. Nesto's job, like Joey is saying, is to find the marks, to work the marks, and to work the scam. Erica is the transactional piece. She completes the transaction. She may orchestrate the paperwork, the stamping, the transferring of vehicles. She's doing legal maneuvers. Nesto is finding women to finesse, to get their information, to get their money, and to actually give that over to Erica to make things happen. That's kind of what I'm hearing you say, Joey. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct. And we go back to Shirley. What was Shirley's part in all this? Shirley's part in all
She's the
this,
showpiece. She's the
she was the
trophy.
showpiece. She was the person that made it legit. Clearly, this is an up and up enterprise because he's connected to her. That's why he would kind of show her off.
Right.
Have her in the
We
car.
went to Tyler Perry's house last night. We went to
Correct.
Steve. Like he's getting access. So when he would
Correct.
meet people, he might run into someone at an event or buying clothes at a nice store for an event. and he's name dropping, oh, we're going to Tyler Perry's house or whatever. So
He's taking pictures on Instagram. He's
yes,
the he is the salesman. He's the customer service person. He's out there
right,
bringing them in. It's kind of like when you buy a car. There's a salesman that sells you the car, but the finance guy is the one that's doing all
right.
the
It's
magic
the wheeling and dealing and closing the
dealing.
deal. Yes,
Correct.
they
Well,
just
if you,
get you to.
oh.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Well, if
Go
you
ahead,
believe what,
Janetta.
oh, if you believe what Charleston White said, it kind of tracks with what we know, because he said that Nesto would, he made it seem as though Erica was working for Nesto. That she said he was going to get mad at her, and some of the things I actually believe his story, because he said that they sent subpoenas, they sent basically garnishments to Google to get his accounts. And when they went at Erica's house, they found courts letterhead from the Superior Court, and so a lot of the things track. I think that Charleston White is not on the list because he's he's the way he is. It'd be another Woody on the stand. But I think a lot of what he said does. So I think they talked to him, maybe some other witnesses, and they were able to establish that Nisto was the boss. Because I'll be honest, when Erica told Pam that she was that was her boss or whatever, I laughed. I didn't believe that, but some people may have thought that based off how they were operating.
Again, Nesto, like if you listen to Charleston White, he said something very interesting that you should have picked up on. He said Nesto didn't talk.
Mm.
He sat in the corner,
He
kind
sits
of
back and
quiet.
listens.
Listens. You know why? Because if he had talked, you would have very quickly realized that he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, or he's not very bright. People that don't talk much, a lot of times, there's a reason for it. And like Ernest says, I listen a lot. That's what I do. I listen. He listens because if he starts talking, you very quickly, if you know what to listen, you very quickly realize that he doesn't really know what he's talking about. Within a few questions, you'll find out that he doesn't really know anything. He looks good and he can look important. He can sit in the chair and look important, shake his head, nod his head up and down. But no, it's Erica. It's all Erica.
Yeah, so he could have been just basically directing her as to what to do. So just because he doesn't know how to implement the scam doesn't mean he wasn't ordering her to do it. So, I think that's possibly what was happening, because I didn't believe it at first either, but after listening to what he said, because he was
Well, they're a team.
yeah,
They're a
they could
team.
both use
Everybody
the
doesn't
drivers.
do the same job. Some people, you know what I mean? In a team, someone has one job and someone has another job. So, and it seems like they alternate leading from behind. Erica
Well,
knows how to handle the transactional piece, and he's handling the show piece.
I think Erica was working these scams way before Ernest met her. And she was working these scams kind of on a small level. And he was able to convince her, talk to her, to let's take this to the next level. I'll get you the people. So instead of you taking $100, let's take 1,000. You don't worry about that. I'll take care of everything else. If you
So
notice,
is the ultimate scam now that even though she did take 17 felonies, is the ultimate now is that Nesto could be actually doing the time that she won't have to do as long as she stays out of trouble?
Correct. He's going to take, because he's the celebrity. He's the headline. Erica is not a good defendant. She doesn't look very threatening on the stand. You kind of find it hard to believe that she did all of this, but you can believe he did it.
Some people don't even believe it's the same person. I've had people in my comments say that's not the same person.
But
and I'm not going to argue. But yeah.
That's how good she is.
She's also a shapeshifter. Yeah.
She is.
She's good at changing her appearance.
She is. And I wouldn't tell you this, your audience, if I didn't know. You have to, you're gonna have to kind of go with me on this
Yeah.
and pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
Joey, we trust you. Are you kidding? You're bougie gang. Of course we
Just
trust
pretend
you.
that I know. Just kind of step out on faith a little bit.
It's gang
When I
gang. It's on gang
when I
gang.
tell you it's not, when I tell you that he is not that bright,
Kevin
he is
Durant's
not.
hairbrush says, Joey, I don't know you. Cut it out. No, I think people like, I get it. I feel like Erica is an interesting. I mean, I always go back to Kevin Majeski saying that there was no air in the oxygen tank.
Yeah. You know, she is a class A certified 14 karat. uh, she is a shifter.
Con woman. Mhm.
She is it. She is it. She is the real deal.
I mean, she's
And if you-
convicted. She's got she took 17 felonies, guys.
You know, think about this. Ernest was basically playing musical chairs. He was basically playing, well, running a Ponzi scheme with one woman. Basically,
Mhm.
his scams are very, very small. Give me $500. Give me
Mhm.
$200. I'm gonna get you a refrigerator. You know, he's running small, silly scams.
Mhm.
Well, that 250
You know.
that he got from Gail, the 250,000, that wasn't small. I don't know if Erica was involved in that.
Erica was not involved in that. And Gail Bickham, again, is going to have to explain how that happened. And the reason he was able to get that kind of money out of Gail is because Gail had that kind of money laying around.
Well, and I think there might have been sex involved.
Of course. That apparently is a skill set.
That might be Nesto's. Yeah, that might be his that's part of his skill set. Yes.
that is a skill set. So, and I guess you do what works, but that's a skill set that he has. And he seems to, and if you listen to what's going on, he doesn't trust anyone, women-wise, that he hasn't slept with.
Do you feel like Nesto deserves jail time, Joey?
The answer to that is
Not technically. Do you feel?
I feel that I need to hear the evidence and I need to see the trial. Because I still, in my heart of hearts, think that there may be a completely logical explanation to all of this. Because he says there is.
He said who? Nesto?
Earnest, yes.
They
He
need
says
you
he's
on the
innocent.
team,
What
Joey.
logical explanation has Nesto came up with? I haven't heard that man say anything logical yet.
Correct.
Where
But that doesn't mean
is the logic?
That doesn't mean it's not there. We just haven't
He
heard it.
can't even explain how to make toast. How is the world is he going to explain? And he cannot tell a story to save his life.
We have to hear we have to hear him explain it.
You have to scream. You're
I
about
have
to
to hear
make
him
me
explain it.
scream.
I have to hear him explain it. We've only heard one side of it. We have not heard his side.
I
We've
do
heard some
not
stuff.
see Nesto getting on the stand. Okay, Janetta, is Nesto getting on the stand?
If he's smart, he won't.
That means
I'm pretty
that
sure.
means he's getting on the stand because he's not smart.
I would not. I'm pretty sure Sean doesn't want him on the stand. I mean, that would be a disaster. Just imagine Wooten cross-examining him. I mean, the direct with Sean questioning him would be fine, but Wooten would tear him up. I wouldn't advise it. Now, let's Joy. You need to be on the defense team.
I would love to see him on the stand. I would love to see him on the stand.
Are you on Nesto's defense team? Do you have anything to do with Nesto's defense?
No.
Why did you laugh? I heard you laughing. I have very good headphones on. Why are you laughing? Why is that giving you like a little chuckle?
Why would I be on his? Well, I believe that he's innocent
attorneys
right
call
now.
into podcasts all the time. Okay,
he's innocent. Right, he is innocent right now.
Your kind call into these podcasts all the time, sir. Someone
of
say
as of
Joey is the investigator. Joey is not Doug. Doug, no, that's not him.
Well, he's
today, he is
Doug's
in.
assistant or something.
Really? Is that what you're putting off on Joey? You're
He
saying Doug's assistant?
he
Do I
sounds like he's
Joey,
on the
what do you
team. He
have
really
to
advocated.
say?
do
Joey,
I
what do
sound
you
like a
have to say to all the naysayers? What do you have to
do I
say? People questioning your credentials out here. What do you
do I
have to say to that?
do I sound as if I could be anyone's assistant?
Okay. What
Well,
what
Doug, well, he's reports to you or something. Since you're not the assistant, but you're on his team
So
somehow.
no, I'm
you
just
just you want to see the law prevail, right? You want to see
I
justice.
I want to see justice. I think I said it
Okay.
before. I want to see justice. I know it
Mhm.
sounds heinous. I know these are charges. It's easy for us to draw our own conclusions, but I want to see justice and I want to hear the evidence. Let me hear both sides. Then we can adjudicate it. But right now,
Is
all I've heard is the prosecution's stuff for the most part, but I haven't heard them put it together. But I've heard what they have, and I've heard some
but
floated scenarios from Sonia, which only hurts Mr. Williams more than anything else.
can Nesto though and you like the fact that Nesto has created such a bad situation, like he allegedly frauded, all the things that have been alleged against him, right? Um, and then the vehicle search happens. Like I said at the beginning, is he the most unluckiest person? Because at the end of the day, maybe had he I don't want to say had he not done all of the things he does, but it's almost kind of like the harvest of the seeds you planted. He's been out here doing the most and being the most shady, but now he's mad because now he's gotten caught up in a technicality. Like you've got all these other people caught up in your technicalities of, well, it was a relationship, it's this, it's that, it's well, you have to prove it, it's a relationship, it was business, things don't work out, all of these things. And then now you want to claim, because a vehicle search was potentially improper. Like I just feel like he's gotten caught up in his own negative deeds. Because of his deeds, there was something that was done to you, but now it's bounced back in your face again. Like he's what the technicality that he could potentially have gotten off on is not going to help him at this potentially not help him at this point.
Well, he's doing a lot of in law. It's what we call it's called pounding the table. So he's doing a lot of that, but uh, uh, I think what
It's
has happened
hard
with
to
him.
claim that Nesto deserves to have justice or deserves to have this, that, and the third when there's other victims out here. So Nesto has created victims, and now now he's going to say he's a victim, right?
We've reached a tipping point. So he's done all these things that he's never had to account for, and they've just built up. They've just built up, and it's
So
built up, built up,
this
built up.
is this is the seeds that he's planted. This is
Correct.
this is his own doing. No matter
Correct.
if Officer Fields messed up or not, at the end of the day, he put himself in this position to ultimately happen. That's why I don't feel sorry for him at all. And I think
I
that's why a
think
lot of people don't feel sorry for him.
I think the issue with Mr. Williams is he just doesn't, and I say this again, he does not want that CP jacket. Everything else he'll deal with, but he wants that is the one thing he wants thrown out more than anything. And that's what this fight is about. It's really about that one thing.
Do you think he is shoveling sand at the beach? Because even let's just say we live in a world right now where we've just dealt with the RICO. I don't know what the outcome was, but he's dealt with the RICO. He still has child sexual abuse material and he still has the sexual assault case. Like
Right.
Nesto is, unless they null process, which are they even going to do that? Like he really is stuck. And if
They're
he
gonna
truly had child pornography in his computer, and it's traced to him, he's screwed.
Correct. And I believe that that's what he wants thrown out more than anything. I think that's really what he wants thrown out
Well,
more
if
than
he wants
anything.
that thrown out more than anything, is that his? Like, you're putting
We
a
don't
lot of
know.
energy towards something that,
But it's
you
not a
know,
question whether it's in his possession. Remember,
it's in his possession. Absolutely.
that's
That's
all
what
that
I'm
matters.
saying.
So
Yeah, that's all that
if it's
matters.
in, yeah, that's all that matters. If it was in your possession and if it's what it says, if it's that kind of material, then that's all. Then that's it. It's a done deal. So, and he just does not want that kind of jacket. And I don't. Uh, and if you've been dabbling in that kind of material, and then that's the kind of person that you are, uh, then you kind of get what you kind of
You're going to
dims
get
the
the
brakes.
repercussions of it. Yeah,
I have a
Right.
because
So
question.
they can tell forensically how many times those images have been engaged, and they can kind of see your use, and I guess it just depends on what the forensics are they look at, but I guess I would imagine that you can see how many times like a piece of media has been looked at potentially. I mean, it's not like it's something that was just downloaded and never looked at. Like the image was viewed on this, that. I mean, isn't there something in the metadata that can say, okay, this was downloaded, but it was never viewed again after it was downloaded, or this was downloaded and it was viewed over 100 times. It was emailed here. It was emailed from there. Like, is there very detailed data per image in our computers and in our phones that can tell exactly everything that you're doing? Because I would imagine so. Maybe you make a phone call, you download a picture, you look at the picture, you know what I mean, you make a phone call, you're on the phone for 30 minutes, then you look up the picture or whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
They
Mm.
can Aren't they able to make those type of,
Sure, they can. I
I
mean,
think that type
with
of reporting, yeah, so I would imagine
yeah,
that type of
they
reporting is
can,
available.
yeah. And then that has repercussions because if you have that kind of material, then you can go back and find out where it came from, who sent it to you. I mean, there's a whole chain of things that can happen with that kind of stuff. So,
I mean,
uh,
if you're the average person and you get a virus in your computer and somebody downloads that stuff to your computer and you view an image and you immediately try to delete it off of your computer, it's obvious to the people who can see that your computer, that you got something was deleted. I mean, they can determine whether someone is a collector of that type of media versus not. Like,
correct.
it's obvious that when you are a collector, or you are procuring that type of content, and if they have him as someone who is collecting and procuring that type of content, I mean, this is definitely, part of the conversation we haven't really talked a lot about. But if in fact, there's a day after the RICO, then these are the next things that are going to come up, because he really is in some hot water.
I have a
He is.
question about the warrant for the computer. Okay, just say we get past this, so we don't know who's won, but just say Wooten won, and the search of the truck is held valid, and the computer. So the thing is, the computer, just because the truck search is valid, doesn't mean they would be able to go into the computer. So do they have a warrant for that particular computer, or because otherwise that's still something they could challenge, the defense can challenge, because just because the search of the truck was valid and like the other information, the other evidence, is, good to go. But the computer, you still have to, because most of our computers have passwords. We have a right of privacy to my computers. So even if I leave my computer outside in the park, doesn't mean somebody could go in it and search through my stuff. I have a right to privacy to that computer. So did they get a warrant for that particular computer?
Well, they didn't. That's the whole problem. The problem, from what I understand, is it doesn't make any sense to me if I'm reading it correctly. It looks like they got the truck was taken into compound. The police department created a scenario in which to run the drug dogs through the parking lot. The drug dog, interestingly enough, hit on that truck, which gave them probable cause to go into the truck. At which time they went into the truck, there was a bag, there was some things there, some folders, paperwork, and they went through all of that Now, this is under the guise of a drug hit. So how do you go? I understand you going into the bag. I understand you're going to be looking for drugs, but I don't know how they opened all the phones. They looked at the computer because he had multiple phones, and they opened up his Gentag computer. They downloaded everything off of that. It just seems a little. I just that scares me more than anything
Did
else.
Sean challenge the searches to the computers individually or just the whole truck to the car? I mean,
The whole truck scenario. He
well, he
challenged
needs to
everything in the
challenge
truck.
unless he challenges. Well, I mean, he need to raise a challenge to the computers individually because
Janetta, you went out. Janetta, you went out. We can't hear you.
go through it. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Because that's my private phone. I can have something there they shouldn't see. So anything
Correct.
you have a right to privacy in, they have to have a warrant for. So that's a problem right there. The truck itself, the fraud challenge. I mean, as much as you don't like it, Joy, he cited some good law for that. I'm interested in hearing about the computer because the drug search wouldn't give them the probable cause to go in a computer because you can't find drugs. Now, if you have a warrant from my house and they said that I have drugs in here, they can open up drawers, they can go through anywhere they can reasonably expect to find that drugs. But
Right.
they're looking for like a big old shotgun in my house. They got probable cause to believe it's in here and they come and search. They can't look in a tiny little drawer for a shotgun because it wouldn't fit. So it has to be where they can reasonably expect to find the items, and I wouldn't see where
What
they find drugs.
about
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Janetta, you're on. Okay.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you guys. My phone rang, so it kind of blipped out. Janetta, can you say something, or Joey, can you say
I'm here.
something? Okay,
I'm here.
all right.
I'm here
My
as
phone
well.
blipped out. Sorry.
What I said, did I get cut off or?
It was my phone. My
Oh,
phone
okay. I
rang
think
into
everybody heard what I
my
said. I was
headset.
just,
Sorry.
yeah, I was just basically saying it has to be where they can reasonably expect to find the item. By the way, I love these kind of discussions about criminal procedure. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all I was saying.
So what about this? Nesto said that he didn't even pay for the computer. Shirley paid for the computer with her debit card. So once again, looping Shirley in as the owner. Because remember, he's like, well, the killing part, the funny thing, I didn't even pay for the computer.
And see,
So is
that's a
that
good point because it's that he can make an argument similar to what he makes the truck. He fraudulently obtained the computer as well because Shirley paid for it, so he can make that, and then they can make the arguments that he wouldn't have a right to privacy in the computer. But of course, the
well, I mean,
judge will
she
have
could,
to. Yeah.
even if she paid for it, she could say it was a gift. I mean, I bought it for him. It was a gift. I mean, I think that's an easier argument to gift a computer than him fraudulently purchasing or not. I don't want to say fraudulently because she never filed charges, but just the fact that she did not know that her bigamous husband was using her information to buy a vehicle, what turned out to be her bigamous husband,
Well, see,
put a car in her name.
when he made his fraudulent argument, he's saying the marriage itself, due to the fraudulent marriage, he was able to procure benefits. So the
Right,
computer
no, I
would be
get
a
it. Mhm.
benefit. So that's the argument he's
Okay.
making. So I don't know which because the judge hasn't ruled, but I'm just going back to Wooten's argument. He could also use that to the computer as well, that he fraudulently procured that there is his marriage because she bought it for her husband, thinking I'm helping out my
Right.
husband. So I think
Right.
that's the argument he will probably
Okay.
try to make. And what was the other issue? The computer and the car. I think that's it. What you got, Joy?
I will go back to. I'll just go back to. Let's hear what the at some point in time the judge is going to come out and give us rulings on this, and we'll know what the logic is and how they thread that needle. And I'm still not very comfortable with, I have some issue with being able to do things and then kind of coming back later and trying to justify it. Good, I think you have to be on the right side of the law all the time.
I
So
mean, I get what you're saying. There's all kinds of law that I don't agree with. Like the Supreme Court has ruled that it's legal for cops to racially profile, and it's been upheld by the Supreme Court. So there's a lot of law in the books we may not agree with, but it's the law. So he's arguing the law, and he has a pretty strong argument. He cited some good case law.
well, again, the law has to be interpreted by a judge. So we have to see what this judge says, because we have to see how the judge threads this needle, and he's going to tell you what that's the law, and if that law actually applies and why it applies, because then that becomes case law. So that becomes a rule from now on out for anybody who wants to do that. So you just got to be very careful with that. So we will see.
Well, Sean needs to come up with some kind of argument to counter that. So the judge need to be because he's only basically argued the fruit of the poison tree, and Wilderness came back with the hammer and said none of that matters. So Sean needs to write a response to that. So the judge can rule on it, because the thing is, Wooten has case law. He needs to have some kind of case law, and it would be helpful if he could say, since they held themselves out as being married, maybe he can find some case law and that speaks to that. Then he will have a right to privacy, but he need to find something. But otherwise, the person with the case law has the upper hand.
I think he's looking at that. He's doing that, but it doesn't. But even if that stuff is thrown out, there's still a lot of evidence that I don't think it would help very much. The evidence is still there. Again, and I still say again, I think that what he wants thrown out really is the CP stuff. I think that's that's the stuff that he really wants gone. Everything else he can deal with. Everything else he'll kind of take his chances. But the CP stuff is just that's one of those things that once you get tagged with that kind of thing, it never goes away, and you're that forever. So
I think he wants it. I think he wants to be free. I think he wants it all gone, because Erica's sitting at home free, so he wants to be free too. So I think he wants all of it out. And he wants, he's thinking that the fruit of the poison tree, which I mean, that's a great argument. I mean, I think Sean did a good job, but due to Woon's bringing down the hand, because I thought Woon was going to respond to that because there's exceptions to the fruit of the poisonous tree. So I thought Woon would argue those. So Sean was proactive because he started to argue against those exceptions in his response. But Wooten didn't even bother with that. He was just like, well, due to fraud, he don't have standing anyway. So it's hard to challenge a standing argument. He need to have some kind of, which I don't know if there's any kind of law, because Georgia doesn't recognize common law marriage, so he wouldn't be able to rely on that. They held themselves out to be a married couple, and Sean needs to come up with something responsible, because he got the case law, and Sean needs to come with some case law as well.
Again, we'll see whenever they meet back in court again.
I'm thinking to myself, like, is Dunaway even going to respond? Because I'm going to, historically, Dunaway is not, I'm not, okay. So I guess the way I'm going to say it is this: historically, it seems that Dunaway has taken his sweet time. The one motion he ruled on was the gag order, and it took him forever to rule on that. So it's like, maybe Sean's not going to respond. Maybe so the state's response, I guess it would be to Sean's benefit to file another motion in response to the state, but maybe he's going to just let it ride. I don't know. Jeanette, I know you think Sean needs to. Do you think he's going to? And Joey, same question. Do you think he's going to respond to Wooten? Because also there's this thing about it coming into social media's preview or the public's preview. And Sean obviously has issues with people out here doing their job. So I don't know if he's working on a response or not. He seems to be quite negative towards the public reading his work. And is that going to have an effect on Nesto also? He seems to be quite concerned about what the streets are talking about.
Well, he's advocating for his client. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do.
Well, then he shouldn't be concerned about the public. I mean, there's no gag order. So don't you think it's better to be like laser focused on your client and what your client has going on versus what the public's opinion is, and then filing the paperwork so the public can't see it, and then the district attorney is making an example out of you
Well,
in his response to say like, okay, you're also trying to withhold information from the public.
I think in this case, because it's a fairly public case
Hmm.
with some celebrity. Again, he's just trying to do what he can to his best he can for his client. Uh, and if that means I can kind of keep some of this information at bay, because again, it's going to come out in the trial. But if I can keep
Right.
some of this stuff, if I can just hold it until the trial, so people don't, so the jury pool doesn't start having everybody's basically in the tank for whatever they're going to believe. Um, I think he's doing what he's supposed to do. His other lawyers didn't do anything, in my in my opinion. I don't know what they did, but it didn't seem like they did much, and but collect a lot of money. And so he's trying to defend his client. He's trying to do what he can for his client because his client has come to him and said, "No one has been helping me. No one has helped
And
me."
I'm not talking about that specifically. I mean, Sean should do his job. My point is part of his job. Okay, so he's trying to protect his client. Is it a good is it valuable to your time to be worried about what social media is talking about
He can
rather
be.
than focusing on your client and what your client has going on? Because honestly, there's not thousands of people talking about this.
He's
There's maybe 20 or less bloggers talking about this at the moment, and I feel like it's probably not the best use of his time to be creating strategy around social media. He's not ASAP Rocky.
You got to do it all. You got to do both. Sometimes you have to do both things.
I think he's a little bit too bothered. Personally, he I don't, because the thing is, people.
I wonder if it's me. Is it my headset?
No, I hear you,
Oh, okay. Janetta, we don't hear you.
sir.
What do you
Janetta, we
watch on
can't.
YouTube?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Oh.
Repeat your headset or whatever went out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What were you
Okay, so
saying?
yeah, he's a little, to me, Sean's too bothered by social media. He's way too bothered. I feel as though, it's only a small percentage of people in Fulton County is probably following this anyway. But he always has the option of asking the jury, the potential jurors at Vordaer, how many of you have watched this on social media? Are you on YouTube or Facebook, and have you heard of Shirley Strawberry? Steve. You ask all those questions when you're selecting your jury, so it's going to be plenty of people who don't even know who Shirley is. So it's really not that serious to me. He need to me come up with an argument that's to respond to Wooten's argument that he just made regarding the standing. That's his concern. He shouldn't be worried about hiding things from bloggers, because you have to prioritize, and I don't feel as though that's important. So I think he's been a little petty.
I think it's more. I think more people know about this than you think, and this is very
Mm.
publicized. This is very visible. Uh,
Yeah,
you
but you can
you
always ask them at the at the Vordaer. You just ask them, how many of you are on YouTube? What do you watch on YouTube? You ask the questions to the ones that, and it's gonna be some jurors on there that's old, they don't even know how to use the internet or their phone, and then the ones that raise their hand and say I was on I watch YouTube. What do you watch on YouTube? You just probe them.
Or do
Have
you
you
listen
heard
to
of
Steve Harvey morning show? You
yes,
know
have you ever heard of
Shirley?
Shirley? Yeah.
Let me pivot and ask you guys another question. Sonia's subpoena. In your opinion, both of you, did Sonia consult with an attorney? Because my
I think
theory
she
is
should.
if she consulted with an attorney, why was she negotiating with Will?
I think she had to.
No.
I think she
Well,
did.
there's a bar rule that basically states that if a party is represented, that the attorney cannot contact them. So if she had an attorney that was representing her, the bar rules would prohibit Wooten from reaching out to her directly. And that's the model bar rules. So when they adopt the model bar rules, that's a rule in Alabama. That's going to be the rule in Georgia. We're not supposed to reach out to people who are represented. Now, if I don't know that they're represented, that's one thing. But if they tell me they have a lawyer, I have to communicate with their lawyer. I'm barred from communicating with that person. So
I remember hearing that in the Thugger case when they reached out to Woody, and Love was told to call that Melnick said Woody's my client, and they reached out to Woody direct. Okay. So that being said, if that's the case, if she had an attorney, she would not have been negotiating that last deal with Will for the 2-week extension. So so she could have gotten an attorney
just
after
to
she
ask them.
negotiated that 2-week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have gotten one afterwards. So to whatever, whoever's point that was, like Sonia or Blabbermouth, she could have consulted with someone after she got her 2-week extension.
That's possible, but also they're making a big deal because Wooten supposedly interned for this lawyer. That makes no difference whatsoever. So I
Nobody
don't know why
cares
they
about
thought.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He still has a job to do. I mean, I can have my best friend as opposing counsel, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to give their client a break. You know, it just kind of is
Well,
what it is.
what about one of the attorneys that Erica King impersonated and frauded? Nicole Mormon. Nicole Mormon had an association with Judge Dunaway. Judge Dunaway swore her into the Georgia bar. And I think she may have and I saw it's on her Instagram. I was like, wait a second. She had a picture of herself being sworn into the Georgia bar, and the judge was Nesto's judge. Okay. And there was something else. She may have even interned for him too. So how about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, Atlanta's a big city, but it's one of those cities where people, you know what I mean? The degrees of separation may not be 6 degrees. It could be like 1, 2, 3 degrees
Yeah,
of
you have the
separation.
same players, the same people.
Yeah.
It's like that in mostly every city. You have, like when I go to
Nicole
bankruptcy
Mormon
court,
is
it's the same lawyers.
the BBL lawyer, yes. Lil Durk's attorney. Okay, so what do you guys think about the subpoena? What was the nexus of the subpoena? Can you give me your opinions on why you think Sonia was subpoenaed? Any speculation?
Yeah, I think I already told you. I think Sonya was subpoenaed because she made herself a target by making those statements on the that podcast.
On the Big Jeff. Yeah,
Big Jeff
Jeff, it became more notable on Big Jeff.
I think that was it.
Janetta, what do you
What did
think?
she say on the Big Jeff podcast that you think you'd be interested in?
She got on her political high horse of, overcharging and Fonnie Willis. She was talking her typical rhetoric talking points. I mean, I can't even blast them off for you right now because I just don't want to tap into that. But she was on her talking points of Fulton County, Fonnie Willis, and criminal justice. That talk she talks.
Yeah, never underestimate anyone's ability to be petty.
Yeah.
So, and if people can, and if people in power, they can do things to you, they will. So yeah, I think that's what the trigger mechanism was for that. And so they gave her a homework assignment to produce those materials, of which she started scrambling, and that's which they have a right to do because it was not protected. And there you go.
Do you think they tried to redirect her, like subtly redirect her? Like most people might be like, look, I'm going to chill. Let's, you know what I mean? Like, let's chill for a minute. But she still continues to go visit him. She still continues to call. I wonder if she'll send any more legal mail. You don't think that there's any kind of legal mail investigation going on that they might not try to handle her with that legal mail business?
I think they want what he sent her. Remember, they have the phone call, so everything that he told her to do, they know. Um, there was no way for him to secretly tell her things that they don't know already. So they know what, for the most part, she has or what she was looking at. Um,
But
and
also to be a little intrusive to get into her email because they said they wanted everything she had from any third party for him or anything you sent to a third party for him.
yeah, it could be, but I think it's just really just to kind of ring her bells, and
Yeah.
and she's not smart enough because she's doubled down on this, and I've told you this before. The I don't want to say cyberbullying, but she kind of, the more talk about her was going on, the more and more she just kind of doubled down with this guy, and she did not take the hint to kind of
Sorry
leave this
guys.
alone.
I don't.
Okay, I couldn't hear. I was getting a try to guys,
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry about that.
I
My
don't.
headset went out. It keeps
I
going
don't.
out.
I don't think Wooten's that petty. To be honest with, that's just my opinion. I feel as though he would be interested in what she's done on his behalf. And there was some talk of a power attorney. And I know he had told her to contact a a victim, a potential witness. So I think they'll be interested in things that took place outside of the jail phone calls that's available to them. You know, she picked up her phone, it's not going to be on the global tail link. And she may have called someone, or she wrote a letter, or or even what she sent him in the mail. I don't know if they'll be interested in nudie pictures, or I don't know about that, but it's a reason. He knows exactly what he's looking for. He may have been told something, because Sonya's not a likable person. Somebody may have called and dropped a dime on her, and we don't know about. Somebody gave him some information, but he knows exactly what he's looking for. I guess the rest of us are gonna be patient to see exactly what he's looking for, because we can only guess. But my guess would be, I don't think it had anything to do with the Big Jeff podcast. I think it has to do with what she may have done outside of the global tail link phone calls. And then she said mentioned something about going to the bank, or which they could get that information themselves as well from the bank.
yeah. Remember, she did all that stuff about a year and a half ago. That's old. She's been doing this. She's done this stuff. There's been a while since she's done all this, and I think it has everything to. I think it is very much because of the Big Jeff podcast.
Mm.
She's made herself. She's made herself. She's put herself in the story. Um,
Still don't
and
think they're I don't think Wooden's that petty. Um, I don't. I think he's, because he has too much to do than worry about what she said on the Big Jeff podcast. I think they're laughing at her, if anything, and I don't think they're really worried. She said all this crazy stuff, and Big Jeff said some crazy stuff about Fonny's father that wasn't true. I don't think they're worried about that, to be honest. They have better things to do. They have more important things than that.
but they did it anyway.
Yeah, but it's based off of something else. They have a reason. I believe possibly it has something to do with what happens outside of those jail phone calls. It's
But
something that
they've
we just
always
don't
had a
know.
reason. But they've always had a reason. They've had a reason for a year and a half now. I mean, they've had a reason way back when she did it. They could have done this a long time ago.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so what do you think? So let me just say this. The next entry
But
on the
I
docket
can't
is
say based,
okay.
unless she actually did call people that he told her to call potential witnesses. And then and as a matter of fact, he has a way of getting people to do things for him that's potentially obstructing justice. Because in the beginning, when we first started listening to these phone calls, the calls with Shirley, I kind of feel like he was going to lean on her a little bit to get her to handle Sheridan, because she made the comment, "Oh, we'll take care of it when you get out of jail." So like, I kind of got the feeling they was going to gang up on Sheridan to get her to go tell her, change her story. So he has a way of manipulating people to get them to feel sorry for him. He's the victim, and then they do the work. They get to lean on the person to get them to change their story. So it was Shirley, and then he told her to call his daughter. So then the daughter can call Martha to say this other lady, this young lady, gonna ruin her life with this. So he has a way of kind of, especially using Laverte because she has a soft, sweet voice. That's her sister. I'm gonna call you sister to sister and help dad out. Don't do this. So he has a way of using people,
Oh,
and
no
so
doubt.
Sonya's no different.
Well, there's no doubt that he has. Again, he has as his. He is he can be very manipulative when he wants to be. Uh, but yeah, absolutely. But again, don't. People are people, and they're gonna do what they. And if they can get you and to throw you off your game, it could be maybe we'll again making her do the making her giving her that subpoena. Again, they should have done that they should have done that months ago, if it were that important, because she did all those things months ago, and you could have easily captured it all then, and it was fresh, and because I think she actually went into his Instagram and deleted stuff. I think she actually went in and kind of changed stuff around. So
Yeah, but I don't. There's an argument. I don't think they can do anything to her for doing that because
I'm like, is it just me or we don't hear Janetta? Janetta, I'm not sure if you're on a Bluetooth or something, hun, but maybe it's not fully charged.
just in and out.
Okay. Joey, what do you think about the fact that there's nothing on the docket until June? I know they can add things to the docket, but
I,
what she
I don't
said in
know.
the,
I
the
don't.
calls.
Again,
okay.
I think.
So I don't see how they can get her for doing that.
Um,
Some they have some new information that doesn't have anything to do with what we've seen. Maybe somebody called them or something was done outside of phone calls. But I believe that this subpoena is based off of some information that we don't have, and he knows what he's looking for.
well, of course. Again, they have the phone calls from prison recordings are only what they release. There's other recordings that we don't know about. We haven't heard. So they have information that we do not have.
What I'm
So,
saying is, I think it's something that was done outside of GCL that she picked up the phone, that wasn't being recorded, and she called some people. That's what I'm thinking.
well, it was under his direction. I mean, he obviously sent her something, and they know what he sent her or told her, and they want to see what that is. That's what that's what that whole process is about.
Because
And I
he
think
did
they
tell
already know
her to
what it is.
call somebody, but
And
she
I
was
think they
like, "You
know,
can't contact the, but we don't know if she picked up the phone later and contacted them outside of the GCL."
and I think they know what it is. They just want to see it. I think they
Mm.
already know what they're looking for. They just want to see if she actually produces it. It could be a drill like that. Well, I know what I'm looking for. If you don't produce it, I can hold you in contempt because I know you have it. So,
I wonder
I
if she
mean,
produced it. I
right. It
wonder
could
if
be
she
enough.
gave them
It
what
could
they were
be
looking
enough.
for.
Again,
Because
yeah. People can be
I because
petty.
because
They
I
can.
do feel like Sylvia has been obviously out here on a misinformation campaign, and like that's not a shocker. She's brought information that is not accurate regarding what Sonia has been going through, like regarding her initially trying to quash it, all that kind of stuff. And maybe you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to take what she gives us as like with a grain of salt as it pertains to Sonya. I mean, someone I didn't see this part, but allegedly Sonya was texting Sylvia to not tell the audience that she had like I don't even try to watch all that because I don't care with these two. I mean, they that whole combo, that whole aspect of the story is less and less interesting to me. The interference from the blabbermouth blogger and the unwitting mistress, that is kind of an aspect of the story I'm so not interested in. Whatever she gets, and whatever kind of pits and traps she falls into is kind of like her business. I don't know. I don't really care as much.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. I really don't care about Sonya. And I,
Mm-mm.
I wish and again, I was wrong. You were right. I thought would leave him alone after after that
Oh
but she
God,
didn't.
no. She
So,
she
um, mm,
I'm further away from that she loves him as much as she has some sort of psychosis and she just doesn't want to be wrong. She wants to be right so bad. And also the fact that she enjoys a man that is pretty much kind of untouchable and unavailable. I think the more unavailable, the more interested she is. So he's right up her alley. He's aloof, unavailable, and undesirable. Like at the end of the day, Sonia is very secure in her relationship because nobody wants this man and nobody can get to this man. And he's all yours. You know what I mean? Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him and nobody can get to him anyway, even if they did.
And see, Joy, you forgetting about those toys are powerful. That's why.
He
Those
he got
toys.
her mind with his tool bag.
with his bag of
He had a
tools.
whole tool bag.
Yeah,
Do
he's
you have
gonna
to
be
pay
killed.
for comments to be displayed? No, I just click on what I want to click on when I'm actually looking at the comments. So no. I mean, sometimes no comments are displayed and that's just because I'm watching a different screen. So no. You
Yeah.
don't have, but when people do send me a tip, I will highlight a tip. So it's not I highlight lots of comments. So maybe you just got here and you can see that there's been plenty of comments that have been highlighted where no currency was exchanged. Okay, Miss Chocolate Drop. Okay. I just happen to be looking at a different screen. Guys, I thank you guys for coming through. I don't want to we've gone almost about 2 hours. So these were some great questions. Does everybody have their questions answered? I'm sure I may have missed some people's questions, but again, to Chocolate Drop's point, if you do want to highlight a comment, it's always good to send it through so I can actually see it because I'm not even looking at the StreamYard monitor right now. So what I'm seeing, I'm kind of just reading when I'm seeing it. Um, and that's fine. Yeah. I appreciate you asking the question. But no, I don't make people pay to play over here. If people want to tip, they're tipping, but we don't, it's not a pay for play over here. Um,
By the way,
can I
by
come
the
over
way,
this
Fran,
information? Go ahead.
I am following the Zanaya case as well.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
it's extremely sad. And I think Jarvis, I secretly think Jarvis was sleeping with all the women in that house.
Yeah, I can believe it.
It seems that I've never seen a child so unprotected in my life. I've never seen anything quite like that.
I really feel like she was like when I thought about kind of Cinderella, it's giving the like another Cinderella story of just somebody who just she was treated like the help. She was getting no love, no nothing. She just lived there and was getting basic necessity if anything, and also thrown to the wolves, which was Jarvis. And it seems that they just turned a blind eye to that relationship.
Yeah, I do believe I do believe he was responsible for her demise. I'm
Yeah.
convinced of that, uh, which is absolutely just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then the family structure is just, I mean, but you know, the thing about the family, the Harris family at large, um, this is common, no matter how people may not want to admit it or not. Families have hiccups and fall aparts all the time. This side's fighting with that side. That's the ain't shit side of my family. That's the this. This is very common. So no matter what they have going on, I guarantee you, um, this is common in families, not necessarily pedophilia, obviously, but I'm just saying the breakdowns, the I'm not talking to, or I haven't spoken to this person, or they do this and they do that, and we do this and we do that. You know, there that's very common. I think that's a part of the story that resonates with a lot of people, the kind of the family breakdown, the at-large family breakdown, and then the small dysfunctional nucleus with all the secrets and lies. I think it's very, very, and then just that one kid that got no attention at all. And Yeah, it's very much heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's and it's heartbreaking for me because what I see is there's literally a chain of events that if anyone, the school system, someone could have just stepped in, it would have broke that. It's just everything lined up. Uh,
Mhm.
it's just amazing that this child fell through the cracks. I mean, she literally fell through the cracks.
The
Uh,
judge made said that if someone would have the counselor that was supposed to respond that day would have come. Yeah, the judge pointed that out.
yeah, it's a series of,
I
you know,
watched her her speech about like 5 times. It was very satisfying. That'll hold me over the trial because I'm ready for some justice. But when I love when she said, "Stand up, Mr. Butts, look at me," and then she said, "I wish you a speedy trial."
Mm.
You know, I love that part. Like, you know, I wish you a speedy trial. Like, I really don't care about you, but you know, the system is gonna be fair, so we wish you a speedy trial. That's all she had for him.
Well, and I reran it today for that reason, just the closing arguments, because I've listened to it like like not even three or four, like let's say 5 to 6 times. Probably today was the sixth time. When I mean, it's not giving everything. I highly recommend if you haven't, I'm sure you guys have, but if anyone out there has not listened to all of the days of testimony, if you're following the case, it's very interesting. But even just alone, those closing arguments, the prosecution, even though he went really fast, he gave a really good timeline, lots of key points of interest and evidence. It's very, like, if you're just getting into the case, that repeat that I played this morning is like, when I started, when I saw the preliminary going on, I wasn't watching it. We had something else going on that week, and I think it was also Nestor's birthday that week. We had other stuff happening, but I watched it the whole weekend afterwards. I just binged it from like Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and finished it up. But I actually came in at that closing argument and then went back to the beginning and went all the way through it again. And it really helped me as I was listening, because that synopsis at the end gave, so if you're just coming in, it's really not too late. Start with the closing, because the closing will give you a lot of information, even though you'll probably forget it all. It'll at least give you a foundation of what the whole thing is about, to get started with, okay, Jarvis with Cordell at the shop and all of those things, then going into that first day of testimony with Annette and Shannon and all the people that you'll meet along the way. It's very interesting. And Chocolate Drop, no harm, no foul, hun. I just wanted to answer your question. So it's okay. I get it. But, and I know that there are channels out here that do that, only answer paid questions, but clearly nobody's dropping anything right now. And I've been highlighting questions for 2 hours. So clearly that's not the case. And being a subscriber, I think that I highlight lots of things, and some days some days are different than other days, and that's just it, and that's all. So yeah, no harm, no foul. Okay, I appreciate you asking the question. I'm in Chicago. I'm still wanting to see Kanika Jacobs get justice because I feel something shady happened to her. Yeah, that's the young lady that was found in the freezer, in the hotel or something. That was bad. Absolutely, the family involved, alleged.
I think
Yeah.
there'll be a good resolution on this one. I wonder if Pam Esquire is on this. I mean, she's from Detroit, I do believe.
Well,
Um,
I almost feel like I don't know. I know she is in the Detroit area. I haven't heard her mentioned too much, and I don't know if she's on a case right now. I'm sure she might be busy, because we haven't. Seems like she's maybe been a little busy. Probably um handling some cases, or whatever the case might be. I don't know, but
What do you
I haven't heard too much.
what do you think of Jarvis's attorneys, Joey?
uh, again, his attorneys are trying to defend him. I mean, it's the evidence for him. It's just he is such a. I think the Jarvis is such a. in just my opinion, he's such a horrible defendant. He's a first of all, he's a pedophile already. So he's already a convicted. I mean, he's already been in jail for these kind of activities already. So how? And I don't know how he's on the street as it is. I don't really understand how he's actually not in jail already, or how he was out in the first place. But
I like the job that they did. I was impressed by all of them. The good people, the prosecutors. They did a really good job of presenting the evidence and laying out the timeline. And I think I mean, for what they had to work with, I think they did a really good job. The guy, the big guy, his whole vibe and nonchalantness, he just seemed like he wasn't really moved by anything. That unshakableness, I like that, because he's sure gonna need it, because there's a lot more coming their way. The only thing they were really challenging was the murder count, because they weren't challenging the other two. But I noticed that the judge, when she made her statement, she amended one of those counts based off the age. She lowered the age to 12, because that's when she said that the assault, when the essay took place. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe some additional charges came out of this
Oh yeah, he's got
preliminary.
more charges. They
And
added to his charges.
that's why a lot of lawyers tend to waive those, because usually it results in an increase of the charges.
yeah, they don't
So,
want to hear it.
I guess they thought it was worth taking a gamble so we can try to get this murder charge thrown out, but it results in additional charges. So it kind of
But
backfired. But I
even
guess,
even if that happened, right? Let's just say, like what you just said, even if the murder charge had gotten thrown out, which it did not, um, he, in his interrogation, his second interrogation with Sergeant Jones, the OIC, he admitted to sexting, exchanging pictures. Um, he may have even at a certain point finally admitted that he had sexual intercourse with her. So as far as I mean, he's pretty much toast. And then he's got two cases with two others, including one that was incestuous.
Yeah,
So
this is not
he's
a good.
done.
well,
This
that's
is
why
not a
they
good
made the
man.
gamble. They didn't have much to lose anyway. So that's
Yeah,
probably
no,
why.
Right.
he's pretty much done. He's admitted, he said he was not contesting the sexual assault, not the sexual assault, but the I forgot what his lawyer said he was not going to. He was not they were not going to contest some of the other charges, so they went in with really just the murder. So the other at the initially there were a few things and they said they weren't going to contest those. So I guess he was basically, I guess we're admitting to those. But as far as the murder, that was the main one. So
I don't know if he was necessarily admitting to him, but he just was waving
they
that it
weren't
was probable
contesting
cause.
them.
Well, he was
Okay.
saying it was probable. Yeah, it was a probable cause here. So he's basically didn't argue that it wasn't probable cause for them. See, they were saying the probable cause as far as the murder.
Okay, so
So they
but in
still
the
could go to yeah.
interrogation, he admitted he basically admitted to sexting her and
Yeah, they'll
exchanging
deal.
photos.
Yeah, they'll
So
deal with that at the trial. He's done on that. But as far as the
yeah,
probable cause, all they need to just show is the probable cause, and probable cause is a low bar. So they
right.
already had the probable cause for those, but they were saying, I think they were arguing, since there was no body, they were arguing that there's no probable cause for the murder count. So they were only challenging that count as far as probable cause go. But as far as the other things go, he does confession. The only thing he could hope for is they could talk. I'm pretty sure they would have addressed it by now if they could get that confession tossed if he wasn't read his rights or something like that, and try to get that, like Nisto's lawyers doing, try to get that thrown out.
I
But I,
do like the speed of that trial, though. I do like how they're getting to this. They're getting into this very quickly.
yeah,
I
because you
Yeah,
wish
went
it had
missing a
come with
year.
Ernesto.
right. This is right at a year. Um well, in Florida too, because Stefan Starnes is coming up in like 2 weeks for Madeline Soto, and that's I don't even know if it's been a year. It will be a year very soon, when she would have turned 13, when she turned 13, and then the day after she turned 13, um, he killed her.
Right.
And we're
Mm.
coming up on the 1 year of that as well. And
Yeah.
he's due in court for the CSAM on I think February 12th. So in like 9 days, that trial is starting. Um, and then in the summer, I think the murder trial will happen.
I
So
think
yeah.
Fulton County could learn something from these guys. They're able to get these trials done pretty quickly and getting them moving. I don't know why Fulton takes so long.
I don't know, because I do think sometimes time and space give people, like, it takes some of the energy out of it. But also for the family, it becomes kind of like an open item. Like they don't, I know what when they say closure, it's still an open wound, just the anticipation of when are they going to call us to go to court type thing. So I can imagine it's quite grueling for the family. Like when you see the family of the kids in Idaho, who are sitting around waiting, and this whole Kohlberger thing is, I mean, I feel like it's going to take damn 10 years.
Yeah, justice can be slow at times. But the thing with Nesto, they just kept throwing charges out, bringing them back, and they kept going back and forth, and then I think it's because his case is different. Additional information just kept popping up, popping up. I think the same thing's going to happen with Jarvis. But since they're not trying to do is one massive case, they could try him. They can move forward with this case, with Naziah and his other victims.
But
And
you
then when
can
the
move.
other victims come forward, then they could, try them for those. So they're not trying to do one massive case like they do in Georgia.
Yeah, you
Right.
could move forward with what you had with Mr. Williams. So you could have started trying him a while back, and again do the
Well,
other
if
cases.
they trying to connect everything together with a RICO, they're gonna need the whole puzzle piece. Because if this piece with this, because I'm telling you, they're using the heck out of this bigamy charge. That has been his clutch right there. I know he's very thankful to the bloggers because he's able to use that argument to talk to go against the standing the challenge those searches. I mean that bigamy argument has been huge. So if they just would have rushed into things, I think the case would have fallen apart. So I think they were wise if they could drag it out. I know you may not like that, Joy, but they will operate within the rules, and I think the law there states that they have up to 4 years, I believe. So they're operating within the law. So if you don't, it's better to try to change the law if you don't like it, because if it's
And
the law, then people are going to
unless
use it.
unless you're innocent,
I
Unless
mean,
you're going to
well,
use it. Okay.
well, I mean, if
unless
you're,
you
oh,
unless you're innocent. I mean, it's great when you're guilty, but when you haven't really when they really don't have anything on you, that's a long time to sit in
I
jail
mean,
if they
and
don't have
that's
anything on
unfortunate, but if the law is on the book, so the thing is the better to address the law. If there's a problem with the law is not unfair, then that law needs to be
you.
challenged. But if it's the
I
law, they're
think
not doing anything wrong.
that's what the previous district attorney was talking about. They said the current best practices in other counties in Georgia the courts move much faster. Just in Fulton County, the courts they haven't adopted these best practices. So and that's so you have the jail problem and people being in jail languishing for very minor offenses for years because of this. So that's what happens when you have this. But I do like how Detroit is moving ahead, getting this thing done. And I'm waiting for the Mr. Williams case to get moving so we can stop speculating and we'll know what actually happened. And we get to hear his side of the story. I want to hear what Mr. Williams has to say. He has to answer these questions, answer for this. And
I feel like we missed the trial period. I feel like the January trial period, we're not in it anymore. Like we're going to another period, and it's I don't know. I just feel like, gosh, I really
It may be
wish we
next
wouldn't have
January.
missed the trial period.
It may be next
I
January
feel
for they
like
have a
it's
trial.
going this time next year we might be talking about finally it's going to trial. I hope it's not in 27. What year is it going to be? 26? I mean, it's like golly.
I hope you're wrong on that one. This
I
trial
mean,
has
I'm not even trying to be right on it either.
this
That's just
trial
how I'm feeling. Like, my
this trial
God.
this trial has got to happen before this summer or around this summer. I can't see. I don't. I, what all right. I mean that's just to me that's just cruel and unusual because you're in this jail, you're in a state of limbo. Just try him. Just try
Yeah.
him.
And they'll have to raise that argument to a higher court and get them to rule on it, because otherwise the law there states they have up to 4 years. So he could languish there. And it would be very unfortunate if he was innocent. So I agree with you on that. But the laws are what they are. So the only way to address it is to change the laws. And people need to contact organizations like the Equal Justice Initiatives, and they put things in the try to get laws into place to make changes. So otherwise, if it's the law, then they're gonna use it to their benefit, and this what they're doing here.
Mm.
I don't think that he's innocent, but if he, that part shouldn't matter. We should, everyone's entitled to a speedy trial, and justice should move along. He shouldn't just be languishing there. So I do agree with you there, but
Well,
again, I
and
don't feel sorry
he's
for him.
languishing because I think the complexity of his case, which that's may or may not be his fault, but at the end of the day, he's also languishing because he was also arrested in COVID, and there's still a little bit of the ripple of the time period that was just unfortunate for him. You know what I mean? Like, we saw the same thing with what just got settled with the YSL situation. A lot of that was going on for so long because of the time period of which, everybody was rounded up and got into jail. I mean, it was the tail end of, and then all of the shutdown. They had stopped the 90 days, the speedy trial. They enacted that 90-day kind of sit down and have a seat. You can get your bail in 90 days type thing. There was a lot of things that were happening in Fulton County that created the gridlock, and I think they're still working through it. So I think that's still part of Nesto's problem, even though we're years out from it. I still think that that's part of what's going on.
Well, again, for me, it's about justice. So for the accused, it's about justice for that person, and for the victims, it did justice for them. I
Well,
mean, this person
he should
hurt me
have
or did
not
something
been
to me.
criming during pandemic. You know what I mean? I hate
Yeah.
to say it that way, but you picked a bad time to get busted.
Or a bad time to be hurt, or to be a victim, because
Right.
now you have to waiting 4 years to get some type of a redress.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just, I don't,
I don't agree with it either. I think it is taking a long time. But there, how many judges are there? There's only but so fine. There's only but so many judges. There's only but so many dates on the calendar, and nobody's case should be considered more important than another. So, Nesto's case just has to wait in line like everybody else. They weren't ready to go this cycle, so now the next date is in June. Maybe they'll put something on sooner than that, but I don't know. I don't
I
know
think
if
that's
this
the,
motion
I
that
still
they
think that's
put up,
I still
pardon,
think that's a place. I still think that's a placeholder.
is just a
Kind of a,
placeholder, but there's
yeah,
nothing on the docket.
kind of a pin date saying, uh, whatever we're gonna do, this is it. This is the date. Y'all need to figure out what you're gonna do between then and now.
So do you think that this is a time right now where Sean and Will are trying to get each other on the phone to say, okay, what are we gonna do here?
It's possible,
Let's,
yeah. I mean, it's possible.
now's the
It's
time to pick up the phone.
right. And those conversations are being had, or have already been had. I think the case is so strong that the prosecutor is in a very strong position. So he's not really going to deal. He's not likely to to deal with you in a favorable way.
Mm-hmm.
He very well might want to go to trial. So because he's in such a strong position. So you
Mm.
never know. You never know. And I think
Okay.
Mr. Williamson said he will not take a plea. He already said he wouldn't do that. But
Mm.
that doesn't mean anything. People always say those things.
Well, maybe he feels like he's taken so many pleas. He wants to see this thing all the way through. Vicky, you had a question. We got our last 5 minutes. I think I had the link pulled up. So, did I have the link still out here? Um, okay. I think Vicky said a while ago she had a question. Vicky, were you wanting to ask a question? Um, I didn't realize it wasn't pinned. Um, Nesto better take a plea. Well, I wonder if he go. Yeah, if he tries to go for a non-negotiated. Because we don't know if Wooten's offering anything.
I feel like Wooten is playing hardball. To me, the fact that he was that he put that man's motion out there, attached it so everyone can see it. That said a lot to me, because a lot of times lawyers, we got work behind the scenes and get things done and kind of work. To me, that kind of said to me that they're playing the hardball with each other. Because a lot of times, whether you can advocate for your client, I'm gonna advocate my position, but we're still cool afterwards. I don't know how it would feel if somebody, at least give me a heads up or something. It's just
He
kind of
might have.
like
He might have gave him a heads up. We don't know if he gave him a
I
heads up.
had,
But keep
I
in
don't know,
mind,
it didn't look good. What
Well,
was it?
Willis's office is under scrutiny right now for a FOIA request. I know I sent a FOIA request for it and I was denied. Other people sent requests for it. It was denied. There's no real reason if the DA feels that there's no real reason why this document is secret, working in an office that's under scrutiny right now for not handing over documents, maybe they're just like, you know what, we're going to make the document available. Not that anybody's going to go sue to have visibility to it, but at the end of the day, this is a public case. And he felt like, I guess it could be seen as something petty, but at the end of the day, the public does have a right to know what's going on.
Yeah, he's right, but I personally would have said, "Look, Sean, you need to go ahead and make it available. Otherwise, I'm going to do it." He probably did that, but it was just kind of giving that
Okay,
they're
give
not
him the
they're not on
option to
terms
make
where
it
they're.
available. Okay,
Yeah,
rather
to
than putting it
me,
out
which I
himself.
could be wrong, but it was to me, I just got the vibe that they're not really talking and work, because I got that vibe too, based off of Wooten said I tried to contact him to see what pieces of evidence he wanted, because he was trying to work things out then. Okay, which, give me your arguments about what should, maybe I won't contest this, but it was just like Sean wasn't really playing ball then. It is, because you remember that in one of the hearings, he said, well, I asked
Yes, I
him,
do.
which, so I kind of felt like there's no a break. It was a breakdown of communication between the two. So I don't know if they're really, trying to negotiate anything behind the scenes that they are.
Got it. Vicky,
I,
you had a question, hun?
I do regarding the devices that they found, and because I thought that they had to have a warrant for each individual device. I know they gathered a search warrant approved for the vehicle, and they excuse me, located the laptop and multiple cell phones. Wouldn't they have to have a warrant for each individual one? I don't know Georgia law, and I'm not a legal expert.
If
They,
well, the way they that's an interest because the way they found the devices, it sounds as if that's a good question. Again, they didn't have a warrant for any of that. It's like they went in looking for drugs, but they found these bags, and in these bags they found these devices, and they immediately kind of went into them. They kind of downloaded them and went into them. Now they may have gotten warrants after the fact, but again, I don't know how they were able to do that.
And my understanding is he did say I needed the device that was on him. I need my whomever's number, my lawyer and my or whatever he said. So he may have given permission at that time to, that's permission for that device, but for the other ones, the laptop and the whatever other cell phones they recovered, I'm I'm under the assumption, the general assumption is that they just can't go into them because that seems like, and I think Nelson is guilty. I'm just saying, but this is a legal conversation, so I'm just
Right.
here.
Vicky, you can
Um,
ask a question. No one should be just a question's a question. It's okay. Like no
I'm
one should be
just,
inferring just because someone's asking a question or has an opinion. Like you have the right to feel how you feel.
but I'm just under the assumption that for each, because that's its own individual piece of like grouping of evidence, of cell phone and a tablet. or a laptop, pardon me, and another cell phone. That's a wealth of evidence in itself. So wouldn't you have to get like a warrant? Regardless, the cell phone that he said, yeah, go ahead and unlock it and get my wife's number out of there, or get so and so's number, Erica King's number out of there. That's different because he gave them the unlock code, and they're going in there. Cops will do that, but the other devices, I just thought that they had to have warrants for each and every one.
Anything where you have a reasonable expectation of privacy in, they have to get a warrant for. So all the devices, but from my understanding, wasn't some of those devices Erica's or what's this the Erica's husband's, or was it
Well,
did they get
That's at
those?
her house.
that's her now.
That's at her
Okay,
house.
so yeah, so as far as the Erica's devices, Erica will have to be the one to challenge those. He couldn't challenge it because he doesn't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in Erica's phone. But as far as,
But
because we said that earlier, all the devices that were found in there, they need a separate warrant. So even if they get past the vehicle search and they said that that's a valid search, one of those computers need a separate warrant for those, because just because I leave my computer out in public doesn't mean you could go in it, because I have a reasonable expectation of privacy. So yeah, they need warrants for all those devices.
so that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Like they found. I know
But
he
we
had a
don't know that they didn't pull warrants. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
we can argue it till 10, but what I'm saying is we don't know that they did not do that. That's not
Okay.
Nah,
even
that
been
part I
there's
don't
no
know, but I just
motion.
know they'll
There's no
need them.
motion like to suppress
Uh,
the equipment because there's no proper warrant. We don't know anything about that. So we can speculate, but we don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like I hear what you're saying, but we don't know that that's actually a thing.
well, and that's because again that goes to my next question. So they were. I don't know like the logging on the chronological order of how things happen. I understand from my understanding, Officer Fields and some other detectives called some of these potential victims and witnesses based on what was in his cell phone, like his call log or messages or whatever, and they gave their statements. If it came out of, let's just say that they didn't get an extra warrant, they just went in the phones, however they got into them. Because from my understanding, it was two cell phones and a laptop that they found, like gold and black or something. I don't know. Um, wouldn't that? I kind of see where Joey's going with this, but and then the secondary question I had is, didn't he's made Sonya his point of contact for he and his attorneys, like he's the intermediary. So she's the one who's saying dismiss, don't work out any deals, we're not taking any deals. But I think he's the one who's been wanting a deal from the beginning. He just doesn't want I've agreed with Joey from 100. He doesn't want the CP charges on his jacket because those are,
Well, he doesn't
that's
have to worry about that right now because the CP charges, Will Wooten's not the DA over that. So he doesn't have any power over that. He can try to get things thrown out to try to mitigate any of that evidence, right, Joey? But at the end of the day, he's not the DA that's managing that particular case. So he's
No,
kind
no,
of almost barking up the wrong tree.
right. But again, but that's unfortunately the CP stuff is from from that crop of
Right. No,
evidence.
I get it. I get it.
So
They need to call Winfrey. They need to call Winfrey and say, "Hey, we need your help. We'd like
right.
to partner with you on this with Wooten." Like phones need to be picked up and meetings need to be set up, I would imagine, because Wooten can't help them. And
Well,
maybe
see,
he's not going to.
he don't need the evidence from the truck. What his issue is, they're trying to do the fruit of the poisonous tree. So if there's evidence from the truck led to these other things that he's actually going to use, so that's Wooten's position. So I think that Nisto wants it all tossed out. He don't want I don't think it's just the CP's worried about. He just want to be free so he can get back in
I
the streets.
Absolutely.
I would disagree with you there because Fulton is doing pleas at this point. I mean, and Erica's got a plea. I don't think he cares about pleading guilty to certain things and getting doing probation on. Um,
But they treat him as a recidivist. They're saying since he's been in so much stuff, they wanted a
oh, I
stricter
forgot
sentence
about
for him.
that.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
he definitely trying to
Um
be free.
all right, let me get one other person up here. Vicky, let me get someone else up here because I've got to run. Let me let this other person ask this question real quick. Southside, you have a question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes. Hey, how are you? Thanks for calling.
Hi, so good to hear from you and speak to you. Just want to say your platform is awesome. Love it. Listen
Oh,
to it
thank
every day
you.
and all that good stuff coming straight from Queens, New York. But I just
Yes.
want to point this out to you that I feel that if you would have never reached out to that website, phone calls from prison, and asked them to see if they can play this, I think surely it would have been not hard, but she would have really, really been in the mix of things had they not listened to these calls and hear her pretty much in her innocence. We don't know how much innocence she is involved in all of this, but I think it did help her, even though I know it kind of damaged her image and all of that stuff. But behind the scenes, I think because of you and you pulling this out and everybody can hear, the whole world can hear, it saved Shirley.
Well, thank
That's
you.
all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's
I
all.
mean, it definitely did add an additional complexity. I mean, I can't take all the, you know what I mean? Phone calls from prison brings a particular element to the
Mm-hmm.
mix. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, it sparked an idea because hearing that there were calls out there, it was kind of like, what? And
Yes.
I literally had just seen this channel and I immediately was like going through my history to see like what was that channel called again, and asking, hey, can you help out because I'm covering this case and I think it would be
Mm-hmm.
interesting and da, da, da. So yes, I mean they
I,
did bring a particular sauce to the mix.
mm-hmm.
It's like not having the gravy or not having the macaroni and cheese at Thanksgiving would still happen,
Mm-hmm.
but Thanksgiving, you miss a little bit of Thanksgiving with no sweet potato pie or no
Yes.
gravy. You know what I mean? They
They
bring
got
they
the whole
bring
meal.
that. Yeah,
They had the
it's a
whole
miss. It
meal.
would have been it would have been a miss
And
to
then
not
and
have
then also
had that
mm-hmm.
contribution of the calls and the videos and what they brought to the table. Absolutely.
And then also to
Absolutely.
all the Nestos and nasty Nestos in the world and all the Sonyas in the world, be aware. We can now pull all your information up. Be aware. So before you start to scam somebody, think before you
Right,
do it.
scamming has become more complicated. Yeah, and as scams become more complex, trust me, the scammers are becoming more complex too.
Yeah.
Like I told you guys on Saturday or Sunday, they just extradited someone from Nigeria who was scamming a young boy here in the upstate of South Carolina,
Hmm.
and they are federally charging him. So they will go to Abuja, Nigeria, to pick someone up to have them hold to American justice. So
Hmm.
Oh, you know, they
scams,
brought
the
Urine
scams and
Vandersloot to
scammers are more
Alabama.
complex.
They brought
Huh?
Urine Vandersloot to Alabama because he tried to scam Natalie Holloway's dad, but they had Urine Vandersloot Sloot.
Yes.
They
Okay.
brought him to the jail over in Hoover.
And he finally didn't get caught until he was doing what, some more of his shenanigans in Venezuela. Was it Venezuela where he finally got
Well, they they
uh
they didn't charge him for her murder. They charged him because he was trying to
no, not
uh,
for Natalie,
oh
another, he did it
oh
again.
he
Yeah.
He
killed some.
killed
He
That's
another
right. He killed
woman. He
somebody else. That's
suitcased
true.
somebody else. Yeah.
Sure did.
yeah.
Sure did. So
And I
he's
think it was
serving
in
murder for that.
Venezuela.
And then they
Yeah.
Mhm.
brought him here for fraud charges because he tried to blackmail the mother, Nellie Holloway's mom, out of some money to tell where her body was. So they charged him here for that and they sent him back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, it was a great conversation. Southside, are you good? Was that the question that you
I'm
wanted?
good. And the lady that's talking that starts with the J. What's your name?
That's Janetta from the chat.
Yeah,
Janetta. She's
Janetta.
I'm
a
Janetta. I'm Renetta. Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Janetta's one of our friends in the chat. Janetta
Yeah.
is a attorney down there in Alabama, and Joey is our legal eagle who shall job status shall remain his own information, but comes to join us in the chat, right, Joey?
That is correct.
Joey's like, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, it was good to talking to you guys. And again, good work, friend. Keep it up. And
Oh,
I
thank you.
still be
You guys
listening
are
every
awesome.
day like I normally do. So thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Bye.
you, hun. Okay. Janetta, thanks for joining us today, hun. Janetta, you there? I think we lost Janetta. Janetta, thanks for joining us today, hun. I'm going to drop you down, okay? Okay, Joey,
I'm
I
here.
got to go pick my mini me up from school. I got to get back on my mom duties.
Okay, as you
Can
should.
you- as I should, as I must, okay? My boss will be calling me. So so yeah, I got to get on my mom duties. But anyway, it was nice talking to you. Thank you for entertaining all of Bougie Gang today. It's always nice. I appreciate you answering the bat signal to come
You
and
happened to catch me listening this today. It's not often I do, so it was actually pretty fortuitous that I
isn't that
was listening.
awesome? Isn't that
It is
awesome? Well,
awesome.
thank you. But yeah, we'll get back on some Jarvis and stuff. I feel like I did do a FOIA request and I got a note back from Gregory. Who hold on. Let me tell you guys. Second, I think he was one of the district attorneys, message me back like, excuse me, can I help you? It was giving, can I help you? Let me see. You still there?
I'm
Was
still
it
here.
Gregory Blackburn? Yeah. So I sent a FOIA request and I got a note back from Gregory Blackburn. He is, what is his title? Gregory Blackburn, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. And he was very kind. He said, we received and processed your request. This is an ongoing case, and the records you requested are not public. They wouldn't even give me the arrest report. Okay. They wouldn't give me the arrest affidavit. They wouldn't give me like just the complaint. They wouldn't give me anything. I mean, I'm going to just say this too, guys. Some of the documents that we get from Georgia, like it's almost impossible to get in some other states. Like some states you can get some information. Some states you can only see the docket. Some states you just have to rely on the public information officer posting stuff to their press releases, and that's like all you see and get. So I'm definitely grateful for the states that post information freely so we can kind of meticulously keep up and read documents and learn. But there's places you can't even get your hands on stuff. Michigan, you can see the docket and then you have to send a request. And clearly, because they're not giving us nothing. They just said no. They were like, after the case is over, you can get it. You can send another FOIA request, basically. So I'm just saying that to just say, every time you guys request stuff or want to see certain things, sometimes we just can't even get it. The best we can do is sometimes see a docket of entries that like things are progressing or court is coming up and things like that. Every city and state don't give us all of what we get from places like Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, even the federal documents that we're able to see, all of that kind of stuff. That's not always readily available. Do you think that that's possibly why? I know Janetta mentioned it before about Wooten publishing Hoover's paper. I mean, do you think that it's because, Georgia is a state that does want to keep the public informed? Oh, so Joey hung up. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. I appreciate Wooten doing it. I feel like it was a public service for him to put that out there, because I feel like this is how I feel. I don't feel Hoover published that paper the way he did because he was trying to protect his client. I feel like he did it the way he did it because Sonia is trying to pull strings, and or he just wanted to keep information from the bloggers, and for that reason it was published. So I'm gonna kind of close on that. I think that if you're being petty, Petty is coming. And if he was really doing it to protect the interests of Nesto, then that would make sense. And maybe they would have left it as such. But because he was being petty, Wooten also saw that that's not in the best interest of the people who are invested and following this case, and also have been instrumental with providing additional information for justice for many people in the state of Georgia who have grievances against Mr. Williams. So boom on that. Anyway, guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet, do you mind? I would appreciate it. And again, you know, to the person, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but to the person who had the question in the audience who asked a question, I get it. And please, no harm, no foul. If you're still around, I appreciate you asking your question. I don't mind answering a question at all. But if you've been here for any period of time, I think anybody and everybody knows I'm not a play to play. I'm not a pay to play channel. If you guys want to reward me, tip me, bless me, all of the things, people do that. But by no way or stretch of the imagination is that how we do business over here. I think that's really quite obvious. But I don't mind you asking. But if you've been here, I think you know that. Some days Bougie Gang hits it out the park and does a lot for your girl. And I also appreciate the days that you guys are just here watching and hitting the like button and engaging and talking with each other. It is either way, it's a good day. Okay. You guys have a wonderful day. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button for me. That is a free way to support the channel, and it's very much appreciated. If you're new here, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit subscribe. If you're on Facebook, follow the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.